Altavista High School. It's time for Colonels football. The Altavista Colonels on 105.5 KD Country. I am Kyle Hoehne, and with me tonight, as always, Mr. Dennis Jarvis, the man of the hour. He's too sweet to be sour, and we love the fact that he's from West Virginia. And I'm sure you've got some good stories for us tonight, Dennis, but the great story that we have is a wonderful high school football game here in the final week of the regular season, Week 11. The reigning and defending 2A state champion Appomattox Raiders in town to take on the Altavista Colonels. It's senior night tonight for Altavista, so that's another little sideline. And the Colonels got a victory last week. First one since August. They beat Chatham 33-18, a game that you and I can recap as the pregame show goes on. But a lot of things happening on this warm first Friday in November. Gosh, it feels like August all over again.
It does feel like August, and it is warm. It's senior night tonight. We're coming in on an emotional high. What a great road trip back from down 29 for the team last week. As you said, they won. And, you know, I think we'll hear Coach Jarvis in the pregame. Each week we've gotten progressively better. Each week the team has been playing fundamentally sound Altavista football, and it is palpable this evening. The heat's here. The bells are already out. The crowd is here. Our award-winning Colonel Marching Band is in the house. And we're talking, not Jim Mora, playoffs. We're talking playoffs tonight. We're talking, not looking ahead. We're talking a team that's going, knows they're in Appomattox. We're talking about a team, our Altavista Colonels, that we are in. The question is, are we home? The question is, whom do we host? So, you know, I asked you in pregame dinner, I said, do you play better? You want to play better in August and September? You want to play better in October and November? And that's where we're at. Better football.
You're absolutely right. I will chat with Coach Jarvis here right after the timeout, and he has mentioned that his ball club thought they were playing better the last 3 weeks or a month or so, and then it finally showed last week against Chatham. And the competition certainly had something to do with that, too. Make no mistake about that. And the competition tonight, much tougher in the form of the Appomattox Raiders. They come in at 8-1 this season. They've been one of the most dominant teams in the state the last 3 years. We'll tell you more about them as well when we continue. It's high school football. Altavista hosting Appomattox. You'll hear it all live on 105.5 KD Country.
To become a Moose is an awesome feeling. You just can't belong to a better organization.
I was born and raised in the Moose, and I'll be a Moose the rest of my life. My son is a Moose. We're three-generation Moose loggers. That's how it is with us. I hope everybody else that can join and become a member, you need to do it. You need to see what it does for us.
Why I belong to the Moose. For friendship, for the children, and most of all for the seniors.
What are you waiting for? Stop by the Moose Family Center in Altavista to learn more about how you can be a Moose.
A short drive will save you money.
This is Greg Walker with Felder Chevrolet. Our new 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty has many customers buying from us instead of the competition. Covers any vehicle purchased up to 10 years old with less than 150,000 miles, new or used. With our 3-day money-back guarantee, you can buy with confidence. Where else can you get great prices, good selection, 3-day money-back guarantee, and a warranty that gives you 10 years of protection? Come see us. You'll be glad you did.
Felder Chevrolet in Altavista.
You can buy paint from any old yahoo who knows nothing about paint in one of those big box stores. For quality paint from people who really know paint, it's Davis Paints from your complete home center, English's. Davis Paints, which has been known for quality since 1921, is not just sold anywhere. Visit the new paint room at English's, your authorized Davis Paint dealer.
English's is your complete home center.
On North Main Street, Altavista.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
We return here to Altavista High School senior night as the Colonels are hosting the Appomattox Raiders, talking once again with the head coach of the Altavista Colonels, Mr. Mike Jarvis. And Coach Jarvis, coming off a win last week against Chatham, obviously you enjoyed the victory. What else did you like about your team's performance, specifically things that led to getting the W?
Well, I liked their reaction after the game. They were very excited about winning. You know, that's always good. You're not sure where their mental state is, because that was a big relief, I think, to them. And they just, you know, we played well. We've been playing some pretty good football the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe, and And we kind of continued playing better this week. Chatham is not up to the same caliber of talent that we've seen on our schedule, which is the toughest schedule we've had ever here. And so it was a welcome win. But I think overall, on the offensive side, defensive side, we played well. We executed a lot better.
You got some other guys, the football. Jonathan Montague scored his first touchdowns. You gave Aaron Close the ball a lot. Is that part of the game plan for you, or is that a wait and see just because some of your other backs get tired or somebody's got the quote-unquote hot hand, that kind of thing? Do you play that by ear, or do you plan that out pretty well?
It's a little bit of planning to it, but you never know, especially with our numbers being low like that, what can happen at a split second, and things can change. So we try to cover as many different situations as we can as far as Aaron, John, Shy running the ball, and they're blocking at the slot position. A couple of them are, John and Aaron are. Aaron played real well. His first game back from his rib injury that he sustained a number of weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago. He's been off, and he played full speed offensively and defensively. He did a great job.
Well, the Appomattox Raiders are in town, and just like previous years, they're really good. Couple Division I athletes and back-to-back state championships. What do you know about this year's Raiders team? Some people say they're a little more vulnerable. Some people say don't believe that. They're just as good. Either way you slice it, I'm sure it's going to be a tough test tonight, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be tough. They're the I don't know if they're the best team on our schedule with Stanton River that we've played, but they're top dog in the state for the last couple of years. They hadn't lost any ball games. Lost their first game to Heritage this year. And they're solid in what they do. They're well coached, and they've got some good athletes on the offensive side, defensive side of the ball. They run a veer option style split back offense that you have to be very disciplined in regard to stopping it. And at the same time, they can spread you out and throw the ball. So they're multiple in what they do offensively, and they're physical and tough on defense. They got the swagger, 2-time defending state champion, and they got a lot of good kids back from last year's team. So they're playing with tons of confidence, and I'm sure they're looking for a three-peat in that 2A level.
Well, it's senior night tonight for your ball club, even though you're guaranteed a playoff spot, and we know that playoff game is going to be at home next week, but it is senior night. So as we've been doing the past few years, let's run down all these seniors on your roster.
Yeah, we got 8 seniors. Right down the roster numerically. Jake Adams is playing the receiver position, defensive back position for us. Been solid this year. Jonathan Montague at linebacker defensively. He's playing a little bit more slot on offense and running back. He's a senior that's played a lot of football along with Jake. Shaheem Pennell is a third one that's played a lot of football for us. Shy's run the ball, I think, as good as he's ever run the football in these last 2 or 3 weeks. He's running the ball hard, and he looks good running it, playing good defense as a defensive back. Jonte Gord has had he's a first-time starter for us at safety, and he's starting at receiver. He's had a heck of a year. I think he's had a heck of a senior year, given the opportunity to play, and he's done a good job. Daniel Triplett, one of our captains, plays on the offensive line, defensive line, has been very solid, very consistent, very solid, very committed to the football program and his off-season workouts and all. Jihan is a player that moved here, first-year player that moved here last year, middle of the year, towards the end of the year. It's his first time playing football, so this is all new for him. And also another first-time player is Derek Stevens. He moved after the football season started from Stanton River. He's first time playing football for us. And number 75, Caleb Melton, plays the offensive line. He's a 2-year starter on the offensive line and plays defense also for us.
Well, it's an interesting mix of seniors there. Some names that we have heard a lot over the years, and then some new faces as well. See what those seniors can do tonight against Appomattox. Kickoff between the Raiders and the Colonels, happening in about 20 minutes on 105.5 KD Country.
Napa know-how.
Right now, Napa Full Synthetic Motor Oil is on sale for just $4.29 a quart. Quality motor oil at an affordable price. A deal so good it practically sells itself. Which begs the question, what do we do with the rest of this commercial? Repeat the deal, I guess. Napa Full Synthetic Motor Oil for just $4.29 a quart. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 10/31/17.
Napa Auto Parts, Main Street, Altavista, across from Feller Chevrolet.
Thinking of starting a business or expanding your company? Think about choosing Altavista as your location to invest and grow. Altavista offers low utility cost, broadband internet, US 29 access, and an attractive quality of life. You'll score big just like the Colonels when you invest in Altavista. Huddle up with the Altavista Office of Economic Development at Altavista Town Hall.
PCM Industrial of Altavista offers mobile welding and repair services, fully equipped service trucks, certified craftsmen, and quick response to satisfy your needs. Contact PCM Industrial at powerconstruction.com. PCM Industrial is a fully insured Class A licensed contractor, OSHA and MSHA compliant. PCM Industrial Services of Altavista wishes Coach Sharness and the Altavista Colonels football team good luck in another winning season. Go Colonels.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Here from the press box at Altavista High School. The senior night festivities are happening now here at Altavista. The football team has been recognized. You heard Coach Sharness run down everybody in his pregame interview. And interesting mix that I pointed out, Dennis, with the seniors on this ball club for Altavista. They've got some guys that have been 3-year starters and 2-year starters, and then they've got some other guys, it's their first year playing football. So interesting that even within that senior class you have a mix of young and old and experience and inexperience. We can talk about that and more, maybe some second half discussion points there. Let's talk about last week. The Altavista Colonels with the victory over the Chatham Cavaliers, 33-18. If you didn't see it or hear it, it was first shot right out the box for the Altavista Colonels. 19 points in that first quarter. It featured 2 big interceptions from Jonte Gord. And obviously that set the tone. I don't want to say the Colonels held on from that point, but when you stake yourself out to a 19-point lead, it gets much easier to secure the victory as the game gets closer to the finish.
You know, real quickly, you're right. You bookend, you start strong, you ended stronger, strong. We came out of the gate 19 points, and fourth quarter had 14. But, you know, there was a little bit of magic, trickeration in the Colonels down at Chatham. The Colonels, when I say the Colonels down at Chatham, I mean the Cavaliers. You know, they scored 6 in the second quarter, 6 in the third, and 6 in the fourth. It appeared on the scoreboard to be close, but it never was. Well, we were trendsetter. They came out passing. You know, they have that signal caller, a sophomore. There's read pass option again. He's out. He's running. He's passing. It was an impressive start to finish for me, for the team. And as Coach Sharness said, progression each week they've grown. You talk about this senior class tonight that was just getting announced. There's a lot of diversity in that senior class. You got some leaders in Daniel Triplett. You got some leaders in Jonte Gord. You got some leaders, Shaheem Parnell, these other guys. And, you know, you always want to pass that leadership on to this underclassman, and they're all taking a knee here to the right of us in the end zone here in English Stadium. And, you know, I'm thinking tonight that senior leadership, that experience from our freshmen and sophomores, they're going up against a 2-time defending state champion. It's 32-1 and 34-1 in their last 3 years. They're big, they're fast up front. But we've been playing some big boys all year, and I'm excited to see what happens on this harvest moon to our left, August-like kind of weather, uncharacteristic in November.
Yeah, it's a warm November evening. If you're not in Central Virginia, the high topped out earlier today at 80 degrees. I think it was even 82 or something like that down in Danville. So it's a warm evening. It's not very humid. There is a chance of rain, more so overnight. I don't think we'll get any precipitation in the ball game, but enough with the weather report. Back to the football. You very wisely pointed out the tough opponent tonight in the Appomattox Raiders. Let's discuss them more right after another timeout. They're a fun team to watch, fun team to talk about. Not so much fun if you're an opponent on the opposite sideline, but we'll see what happens tonight with the Colonels. It's high school football. Raiders in town taking on the Altavista Colonels. You'll hear every second of the action live on 105.5 KD Country.
Your home is your biggest investment. It must be handled properly. Let the professionals at DL Bryant Heating and Cooling handle your home issues. Donnie and his trained professional staff are ready at 434-841-1580. They can make sure your home or business HVAC system is ready. Ready for the rest of the summer and ready for the upcoming fall and winter. Call DL Bryant Heating and Cooling at 434-841-1580. That's 841-1580. DL Bryant is ready to protect your investment.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Virginia high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too.
Brought to you by English Construction Company with offices in Lynchburg.
Whatever your truck, car, SUV needs are, Highview Motors GMC has it all from small to tall. New to pre-owned, offering more than just GMC sales. Highview Motors GMC provides 24-hour towing, full-service body shop, state inspection, transmissions, everything in between. Highview Motors GMC, providing top-quality service since 1961.
Motors GMC.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
We're about 12 minutes away from kickoff here between the Appomattox Raiders and the Altavista Colonels. I'm Kyle. He's Dennis. Katie is our sound engineer. We appreciate you tuning in, whether it's on the KD Country app or at kdcountry.com, or maybe you're old school listening on good old 105.5. No, a lot of you are, and we thank you so much for that. Raiders come in tonight, Dennis, at 8-1. They're averaging 42.6 points per game. Big names to know for them. It starts with their quarterback, their signal caller, Javon Scruggs. He's thrown 21 touchdown passes. He's run for 8 more. He is a talented player who recently committed to Liberty University. And, you know, some people debate, well, is he going to be a quarterback at the next level? You and I will have an opinion to add on to that. But in years past, from what I've seen from Scruggs, he is a Division I quarterback. He can really throw the football. He scans the field. And the athleticism is really just the icing on the cake for him. He is a very, very good player.
He is, and he's on the defensive side, too, starting at strong safety. So we're going to have an opportunity tonight to kind of judge him from two fields. You know, offense is always the best defense, or is defense always your best offense? And he's strong, he's big, but we have seen, how many weeks have we been saying the quarterbacks in Central Virginia? Mm-hmm. You know, we talked about the young man from Chatham last week. We talked about the quarterback, the sophomore quarterback at Gretna, the senior quarterback at William Campbell. So we've seen them all year, but, you know, has he run into Daniel Triplett and Aaron? Is close. Has he ran into these kind of guys on the other side of the ball? You know, they start fast. They're 15.3 points in the first quarter, 12, 13 points in the second quarter. They're hanging their cleats up at halftime and playing the water boys and the armchair quarterbacks. But, you know, I get excited when I call Colonel football. I think you know that, but when you put those kind of guys up against our guys, they're in the trenches. We've played some big teams. We've played, you know, we've been on the road playing Stanton River. We've had Dan River come to our house, Gretna twice, William Campbell, you know. We've seen the big boys. We've played the big boys all season. And we end this one with a real special one. I'm not going to take anything away from Appomattox. I'm not going to take any away from a two-time state champion. You're not going to take away anything from the way they do things and the ethos that they have. I'm excited to watch this young man play, but I'm more excited to watch these seniors go out of here with their head hanging high tonight. And we've got a lot to look forward to in the weeks ahead as ourselves, as Appomattox does.
Oh, yeah, both these teams have secured their playoff positions. Appomattox will host a game next week. So will the Altavista Colonels. Opponent for Altavista, a little bit up in the air, but we think it's going to be Stonewall Jackson. You mentioned Appomattox and their talented ball club. Just a little bit more about them. The one loss this year to Heritage, 30-14. That was a battle. That snapped a 32-game winning streak, and that was one of the longer ones in the state on record, and it was certainly the longest at the time. Now, Dennis, with the one loss, they're 8-1 this season, so we did the math. It's, what do we say, 38 out of their last 39 wins.
38 out of their last 39. We had a confirmation here in the press box a little while ago. Should never second guess the master that I've got to sit beside all season. You had it pegged in pregame. and you know, there comes a lot. You know, everyone is gunning for you when you've got 32 straight, you're back-to-back champions. You know, let's look at the way our guys have taken that adversity. Didn't really quit against a Stanton River team that lost one game in the last 2 years. We stood man for man, pound for pound with Dan River. Our young men are not going to go quietly tonight just because there's someone with 38 wins out of the last 39 games. And you know, it's a unique situation we see in this Appomattox team. They're strong, they're big, they're fast, and they've got a lot to prove. They have a lot to get done. But it's rare that I get to see when when you come to A-Town, you better bring your A game. Well, an A game team is here.
Right.
The Appomattox Raiders and Altavista Colonels.
Battle of the A's.
Yes, sure is.
Well, Dennis and I will catch our breath, and then we'll be back with a little bit more. We'll tell you a little bit more about the Altavista Colonels. And, gosh, these two teams, two of the best in the last 10 years or so in Central Virginia. We'll talk about some of those stats. Pretty impressive when you put these two teams side by side. We'll see what happens on the gridiron tonight. A timeout, and then we're back with football. Kickoff less than 5 minutes away between Appomattox and Altavista. You'll hear it live on 105.5 KD Country.
Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving family since 1905.
Service you can trust and prices that work for your family. During the moments in life that matter, you'll be able to feel the difference made by family ownership. Finch and Finch, family serving families since 1905.
Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving family since 1905.
Here's some valuable information when buying your dream home. I'm Tracy Gallahan with First National Bank, and we offer more mortgage options. We have a wider variety of loans to help you purchase a new home or lower your existing monthly payment. So, for a more custom mortgage loan of any size, contact local First National Bank. We'll show you an extraordinary customer experience and help you bring home more bacon. First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
It's cold in here. Will your heating system keep you warm this winter, or will you spend a cold evening shivering under the covers? Have your heating system inspected today by Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling. Kent Tyree has over 20 years experience and specializes in heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Licensed and bonded. Call for an appointment today. 309-2266. 309-2266. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Senior night stuff wrapping up here at Altavista High School. It was a good bunch of seniors. They announced not only the football team, but the football cheerleaders and, of course, the other sports teams as well. Volleyball team starting their regional tournament action. That game is tomorrow at Altavista High School. It's a high noon tip-off for the region volleyball action. You mentioned the band has got a big competition tomorrow. Is that right?
Yes,
That's
we do.
Tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's in Salem. Andrew Hicks Facebook messaged me here. My phone's a little slow, but they did last week. They were first place in state regionals, and tomorrow is the states in Salem. You know, it's kind of interesting. Salem's the city of champions. It's the city of championship bands tomorrow. So it's kind of interesting. Kyle, we've got out the center of our field. We've got our captains huddling up, embracing with the captains from Appomattox, and, you know, got the coin toss coming. And I get excited every time this goes on. It means game time is here. It means we get to hear your docile tones and great stewardship of directing Colonel fans at home to understand what's going on the football field. And I'm saying they're going to be we're ready to play, and we don't know how the game's going to end, but we are going to show these Raiders tonight that when you come out to Vista, you better put a little more air in your helmet. You better tie your shoes up a little better, and you better be ready to play because our guys are ready, and they're hungry. We know that. Talked to them during pregame. They said we're going to be calling their names tonight, and they've got something to show.
I think you're right. The Altavista Colonels are led scoring-wise by Mr. Jake Adams. He's a senior, 10 touchdowns total, 5 receiving, 5 rushing. Shaheem Pinnell right behind with 8 touchdowns on the season, 7 of them on the ground. Christian Gilbert has 4 touchdowns. He's the quarterback. Dennis, we know about Appomattox, reigning and defending state champions. Of course, 2016, 2015. You go back before that, in 14 and 13, it was back-to-back state championships from Altavista. Since 2007, these teams, 2 of the best in the area for sure. Altavista's 91 and 44 in that stretch. Appomattox 95 and 33 in that stretch.
Wow.
And they just win a lot of games. They're coached by Doug Smith. He was formerly the head coach of Heritage, and he's a football lifer type of guy like Mr. Mike Sharness. He's obviously, you've heard about how active he is in the community and the team in general, and it's a fun story there at Appomattox. They're trying to keep the ball rolling one more season. They've got their eyes on a 3rd straight state title, but got to get there in steps. Got to take care of business against Altavista tonight. And as you said, Colonels are going to have something to say about that, too. We'll step aside national anthem time. We'll bring it back. We'll be ready for the kickoff right after that between Appomattox and Altavista. The ringside seat is on 105.5 KD Country.
Fun times are waiting for you at El Cazador, Altavista's oldest Mexican restaurant. Relax in comfort with daily food and drink specials, Mexican and American foods, and a children's menu, too. Call for takeout or go online to elcazadorva.com. El Cazador is a proud supporter of community activities like high school sports and the Y. El Cazador is open 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by before or after the game.
The game is brought to you by these members of the KD Country Sports Club.
Radio Shack and Crystal Bay Pools, serving your area since 1989 for swimming pool installations, chemicals, liners, and more.
El Cerrito. Throw on a sombrero. Shake your maracas. It's El Cerrito time. Authentic Mexican cuisine only El Cerrito can serve up.
One Stop Mart, Main Street, Altavista, where the gas is cheap, beverages are cold, and the chicken is kicking.
McDonald's of Altavista, proud supporter of the Altavista Colonels. Stop by or drive through before or after the game.
The Dairy Freeze with hot dogs, burgers, fries, and of course ice cream. They're doing it right at the Freeze on Main Street, Altavista.
Old Dominion Insurance. See Kim and Gil, your Erie insurance agents on Main Street, Gretna, next to Tyler Flower Shop.
Thanks for sponsoring tonight's broadcast on 105.5 KD Country.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Getting ready to tee it up here between the Altavista Colonels and the Appomattox Raiders. Both teams about to bust through their banners. Before they do, let me remind you our broadcast is made possible by Feller Chevrolet, now offering a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. First National Bank, helping you bring home more bacon. English is your complete home center, now offering a complete line of Carhartt clothing for men and women. Napa Auto Parts of Altavista. Find your Napa know-how on Main Street. El Cazador, Altavista's original Mexican restaurant. English Construction, wishing our high school athletes an exciting and injury-free game. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer, warm in the winter, and comfortable in between. PCM Industrial Services, now with mobile welding and repair service. The Altavista Office of Economic Development, we invite you to come find one-of-a-kind. Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service, a family serving families since 1905. Highview Motors GMC, from small to tall, Highview has it all. D.L. Bryant Heating and Cooling. Call Donnie at 841-1580. That's 841-1580. And the Moose Family Center in Altavista. Stop by the Moose Family Center on Lynch Mill Road to learn how you can become a Moose member. Of course, Dennis and I will tell you more about the Tuscan Italian Grill at halftime. We had a great pregame meal in there. Mr. Jarvis, any final thoughts before we get underway here at Altavista High School? Colonels will be wearing the black jersey with the black pants tonight, orange and white striping around both.
Well, you got Coastal Ray. The Raiders are in silver helmets, white jerseys, and blue pants. And they're sporting a kind of a neat A that is not reminiscent of the Pac-12 Rich Rodriguez-led Arizona Wildcats we were talking about earlier with one of their volunteer coaches over there. But smoke's rising. Teams are on the field. Looks like we're going to be kicking off. Our Riverboat Gambler again takes that. Coach Sharness take the ball in the second half. So turn it over to you. Let's bring this one home and let the people out there know the Colonels are ready to play.
Colonels do look ready to play. Coach Jarvis said they had a good week of practice. Everybody very excited. I think the Colonels, when they play these tough teams, and as we've pointed out, it's been a tough schedule, a real meat grinder. I think the Colonel players get excited to play some of these tougher opponents, and they do certainly try to rise to the occasion. It looks like back deep for the Raiders. I believe Colin Shaw is back deep, one of the deep men. They both stand on about the 15-yard line. We'll find out who the other is in a moment. It looks like they're going to kick it over that direction. Fielded on the 19-yard line. 5 steps inside the sideline, and he's got a bead down that far sideline. Off to the races. Colonels will run him down at the 30-yard line. It was number 24, Jaden Gilbert, who had to make a touchdown-saving tackle. And, goodness, you talk about good starting field position for the Appomattox Raiders. They're on the Altavista 27-yard line.
You know, they were running right to left. Great special teams effort by the Appomattox. Had the alley set up, the blockers ahead of them, and it was full steam ahead.
The Raiders' offense doesn't need any extra help, but this is really good field position here. Javon Scruggs is the quarterback. He'll go under center with split backs behind him, a receiver to each side, and it looks like a tight end to the right. They give it to the first man through on the veer option. He tumbles forward for a 5-yard gain. And a good start for the Raiders offense to move it half the distance to that first down marker there on first down. It looked to me, Dennis, like it was Omar Bailey on the carry there. He is in the backfield with Jalen Holland. Bailey has a bunch of yards on the season and a bunch of touchdowns, too, 15 of them.
That was what I was getting ready to say. It's hard to read the numerals here. That blue for the Appomattox Raiders on their white jerseys, hard to discern. They're going right to left. Seems we've got a situation with the clock, the 25-second clock here, and the officials, too, Kyle, coming over the clock to Coach Jarvis about what they want us to do.
Our crack scoreboard staff up here in the press box with us will get it taken care of, and Dennis and I, we can find no shortage of things to talk about for sure as the moon is rising off in the distance there. You mentioned the nice harvest moon obscured by clouds. It's a great evening out here at Altavista for some football. It's starting to cool off just a little bit. Now the referee tells them to crank the clock up. They're going to run some time off, and Appomattox's offense will pause for another moment. Now they're set and ready to go, moving right to left from our perspective up in the press box. Colonel's not showing blitz at the moment as Scruggs gets under center and receives the snap. Another option play, they give it to Bailey. He bounces off right tackle. Now he's far sideline. Got a blocker out in front of him, diving for the pylon, charging towards the end zone, but he's short by a yard. The Colonels were able to deny him at the last moment. Good hard running there from Omar Bailey. He is a name that is relatively new despite the fact that he's a senior. He's put together a good senior season. He's got the Raiders within striking distance. They actually moved the ball back to about the 3-yard line. Same formation, split backs, a receiver to each side. Tight splits up front. Scruggs, quarterback keeper, forces his way in the house for a touchdown, and Appomattox leads early, 6-0. Their quarterback, Javon Scruggs, getting the short touchdown. It was set up by the very good kick return.
It was set up by great special teams play. This offensive line for Appomattox is solid. They're averaging about 250 a man. They're big. They're fast. And you just saw not a lot of passing. It was a run. This is a veer option kind of offense. And impressive opening start for these Appomattox Raiders.
It's a crisp-looking operation when they're on offense. Here comes the extra point try. The kick has plenty of distance, and it is good. The Raiders lead 7-0. We're back after a quick timeout. It's Altavista football when you return. Raiders 7, Colonels 0 on 105.5 KD Country.
To become a Moose is an awesome feeling. You just can't belong to a better organization.
I was born and raised in a Moose, and I'll be a Moose the rest of my life. My son is a Moose. We're 3-generation Moose loggers. That's how it is with us. I hope everybody else that can join and become a member, you need to do it. You need to see what it does for us.
Why I belong to the Moose. For friendship, for the children, and most of all for the seniors.
What are you waiting for? Stop by the Moose Family Center in Altavista to learn more about how you can be a Moose.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
The Appomattox Raiders are up early here, 7-0, with a mere 36 seconds gone in the ball game. I'm Kyle. He is Dennis. The score was by Mr. Javon Scruggs, their talented senior quarterback, a Division I signee. But most of the damage was done before that, Dennis. We'll see how the Altavista offense can respond. Still the bulk of the first quarter remaining.
Well, you know, we just got to batten down, play our game, and not make mistakes, and we'll be right back in this.
Line drive kick that'll get fielded on the 20-yard line by Jonathan Montague. Wants to angle his way out towards the near sideline right. Chop down around the 30-yard line. Decent starting field position here for the Altavista Colonels to operate with 11:17 left in the Englishes. Your complete home center. First quarter, a 7-0 early Appomattox lead.
Kyle, you're right. We've been averaging that 30, 35-yard line starting option on most of our kickoffs this year. And looks like we've got the troops ready. The offensive line's going to have a big test here. Let's see what happens.
Colonels set up in the shotgun formation, a wing back to each side and a wide out to each side. Here comes the snap. They'll give it to Shaheem Pennell. He bursts through the line outside the right guard's hip and falls forward after a 5 or 6 yard pickup on first down.
You know, Shaheem's averaging right around that 5.9, 6.2 yards per carry. Showed it again. If you're not watching the game film on this young man, you're not going to understand. You got to wrap him up high, wrap him up, and don't fall. If you don't follow through, he's going to bounce off of you like Pinball Wizard and pick up another 2 yards.
Football resting just beyond the 35-yard line, right hash mark. Appomattox has 4 down linemen, now 5 with 2 linebackers and 2 deep safeties. They hand off to Pennell again, wants to go right up the middle. Less running room this time as he's stuffed and thrown backwards for little to no gain, maybe even lost a half a yard or so. It'll set up third down and about 6. 10:30 left to play in the English's first quarter. It's a 7-0 Raider lead.
That was a defensive end, number 72, Cameron Jackson. It's a senior, a 5'8", 190 player for Appomattox. It hit us right in the backfield. Threw us for a loss. This Appomattox team is big on defense and fast.
Cameron Jackson is a very talented wrestler on the mat for Appomattox. Head coach Matt Wallen will have to wait a few weeks to get him out to practice, though, because the football team is going to be going for what they hope is about 5 more weeks. Running play again. Option play, I think. Gilbert gave it to Pennell. Pennell had no room. Raiders' defensive line was in the backfield simultaneous with the handoff. That's a loss of 2 yards. Brings up 4th and 7 now. 9:40, clock turning in the first quarter. Appomattox with a 7-0 lead. Colonels looking to the sideline. Almost looks like Altavista wants to go for it. It's a punting situation for sure. They're back on their own 33-yard line. Pennell is a little bit deeper. It looks like he is going to boot it away with the right foot. Raiders are going to send one deep man back. He's about 20 yards deep. Pennell's going to try and kick it over his head. Return man fell over. Ball takes an Appomattox bounce after it pounds off the turf at the 29-yard line. It's covered by Jacob Adams nicely down at the 33. Appomattox takes over there, their second possession of the ball game.
You know, Kyle, the first series for Altavista, we had a good run off tackle with Shaheem to open the series up, and that just couldn't seem to get in the groove. That big, fast, athletic defensive line was causing havoc. Kind of got back in the backfield, rattled Christian's cage a little. Get here on defense, we're playing a little different situation we did the first possession. They're on their side of the field. It's about the 30. So we're going to see our defensive line stack up against this. It'll be more interesting than the last series we just watched.
Appomattox offense hustles onto the field. The Altavista defense was really the same as the special teams kick, so they didn't have to get any personnel on. Option play, Scruggs keeps it, steps inside, ran through the first hitter, but could not escape the other 3 Colonels that were headed his way. Does a nice job of making about a 4-yard gain on first down. 9:01 left to play in the first quarter. Appomattox 7, Altavista 0. Raiders getting their second drive of the ball game started. Dennis, doesn't that offense for Appomattox just seem to operate efficiently and crisp? They all get off the ball at the same time. Great first step.
Very efficient, a very efficient, methodical offense thus far. You're correct.
We haven't seen Scruggs throw it yet, but he's pretty good at that, too. Watch for it here. Nope, running play again. They give it to Bailey. He's off right tackle and taking tacklers with him. He's across the first down marker, now all the way to the 45. Gets shoved back about a yard. Forward progress is going to get him to the aforementioned 45-yard line. It's a fresh set of downs for the Appomattox offense. Clock will restart with 8:29 left to play in the first quarter. 7-0. The Appomattox advantage. They're clad in the road white jerseys, silver helmet, blue pants.
You know, it's odd watching this offense, this veer option. You don't know where the ball's going to go. Is Scruggs going to drop down in the alley and run? Is he going to hand it off? Is he going to option pitch? This is a very methodical offense, like you said.
Yeah, and it's a different type of offense, a different type of option offense, rather than what Altavista runs. First main difference is they're under center. Might have jinxed the Raiders a little bit, talking about how crisp and efficient they were. They had a false start. That'll back them up 5 yards. Ball now resting on the 40-yard line, far hash mark right.
You know, I don't think Appomattox makes those mistakes early. They don't make them often. And it's good we back them up another 5. Gives us a little more distance to work with.
Drew Mann is a good tight end over here on the left side. You got to watch for Devon Graves. He's the favorite target of the Raiders quarterback, Javon Scruggs. He wants to go to him right now. Slant play. It's completed at the 50-yard line. Tries to spin out of the Jacob Adams tackle. He can't do that, but it's a 12-yard pickup. A bullet pass there from Javon Scruggs. I mean, you talk about a fastball. That one's humming in there at about 95.
It is, and it's a strange stance that this quarterback is taking. Scruggs is very down. He's on the field. He's squatting. He's back up. That was a quick pass. That was almost like a shortstop to first base, quick strike.
It was complete to that favorite target, Graves, over there on the far sideline. They put a man in motion, option play to the left. Scruggs pitches it out. Now he wants to get out there and block. Running back is able to avoid Shaheem Pennell, but couldn't get by Jonathan Montague, who lays a nice shot on him with the right shoulder pad and knocks him down to the turf. That was Jalen Holland, number 12. He picked up 8 or 9 yards. He's short of the first down marker, but Raiders don't need much more. Now actually the official signals it was a 10-yard gain. Chains will move again. Raiders look to the sideline to get the play from their coach, Doug Smith, and now they'll unhuddle and rush up to the football to get ready to snap it again here on 1st and 10 from the Colonel's 32-yard line.
It was one solid hit by Jonathan on that run as well.
Option play. Scruggs keeps it. He's through. Now streaking down the left seam. He will waltz into the end zone from 32 yards out. He shrugged off a couple very stiff challenges and just kept rolling. Javon Scruggs, the senior quarterback, is in the end zone for the second time tonight. That caps off a 67-yard scoring drive for Appomattox.
You know, that young man is averaging right around 9 yards a carry, 804 coming in on the season thus far. A stiff arm, and he waltzes into the end zone and turns around and looks and see anybody else behind me. It was kind of more entertaining to watch than I'm accustomed to.
And sometimes you got to check the rear view mirror, I suppose. Snap back for the extra point. Again, another boomer with plenty of leg, and the accuracy is good. 14-0. The Appomattox Raider lead is expanding. Altavista football with 7:02 left to play in the first quarter when you return to 105.5 KD Country.
A short drive will save you money.
This is Greg Walker with Felder Chevrolet. Our new 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty has many customers buying from us instead of the competition. Covers any vehicle purchased up to 10 years old with less than 150,000 miles, new or used. With our 3-day money-back guarantee, you can buy with confidence. Where else can you get great prices, good selection, 3-day money-back guarantee, and a warranty that gives you 10 years of protection? Come see us. You'll be glad you did.
Felder Chevrolet in Altavista.
Your station for high school sports play-by-play is 105.5 KD Country.
We return to Altavista High School. Javon Scruggs, the senior quarterback, is in for the second time tonight on the ground, this time from 33 yards out. Nick Ferris has banged in both the extra points. And Dennis, gosh, the Raiders, much like the Golden Eagles that we saw a couple months ago, they're as good as advertised so far anyway.
You know, they are. And, you know, we're calling names like Scruggs, and that all starts with that offensive line up front that's fast, quick, and efficient for the Raiders.
Another kick in the air from Ferris. It'll bounce on the 10-yard line. Took a low hop that Pennell was able to handle. He's full speed, striding hard across the 20-yard line. Met some serious resistance at the 24. We could hear those pads pop from up here. A flag does come out at the point of impact. We'll see what the penalty ends up being. I'm afraid it might be against the Altavista Colonels on some illegal blocking. Nope, it's a face mask against the Raiders.
Good
call by the referee to spot that from really what was about 25 or 30 yards away, it looked like, and it'll be 15 free yards for the Altavista offense to work with.
You know, Kyle, the Colonels are now 14-0, but we've seen this. We've seen this with these offenses that are quick strike, that are fast. And, you know, now we're starting with our best field position on our second possession. Let's get some momentum and get some solid offensive play and keep the clock rolling.
Shotgun formation for the Altavista Colonels. Gilbert fakes the handoff, wants to throw. Left-hander slings it out to Adams. Out-breaking route at the 50-yard line. He's wrestled back to the 40-yard line. Forward progress will get this football to the 46-yard line. Nice route running there from Jacob Adams. Ball was delivered on time and on target by Gilbert, and it's a 6.5 or 7-yard pickup on first down for the Altavista offense.
Christian's favorite target thus far this season has been Jake Adams, who I deem the Maserati. He's quick, he's fast, but that safety from Appomattox wrapped him up and brought him back. I'm glad that forward momentum got us those positive yards.
Just sort of bulldogged him backwards. Colonels are on the far hash mark, 47-yard line. They put Gord in motion. They hand it to Pinnell instead. He meets a wall at the 45, able to muscle his way ahead for maybe a yard, maybe a yard and a half. Clock moving with 6 minutes left to play in the first quarter. It's presented by English's, your complete home center, and your home for Carhartt apparel for men and women. It's a 14-0 Appomattox lead, Dennis. Big third down play here for the Colonels offense.
Big 3rd and 4, and you know, this very fundamental Appomattox team is getting back here and rattling Shaheem's cage. He's our leading rusher on the season. He's not used to seeing these guys like this that can stop him mid-point. Let's pick up his first down.
Running play again. They give it to Pinnell. Tried to dodge through the hole there. Got shut down by a multitude of Appomattox tacklers. It looked like number 54, Daniel Baldwin, was the first man on the scene from the middle linebacker spot. Pinnell did gather a yard. It's 4th and a long one here for the Altavista offense. They may be going for it. They're in their own territory, but close to the 50-yard line at the 48.
Appomattox doesn't look full. They've got one guy back just in case we would try to drop Shaheem back and punt the ball.
I think the Colonels are going for it. They put Adams in motion. Wide receiver sweep. He stumbled for a moment, but he dove across the 50-yard line. That was the line to gain to pick up a fresh set of downs. I think he's got enough.
Got
official signal. Yep, they do get the first down, and they'll keep chains moving. Good play there. Get it to one of your athletic playmakers. Let him find a little bit of room. Blocking was okay on the outside. He didn't get much more than the yard and a half that they needed, but he got enough.
Football's a game of inches, just like life, a game of inches, one at a time. And what a great call by the offensive staff and Coach Sharnes to go for it in that situation.
Aaron Close is in the backfield. Christian Gilbert. They give it to Close. Gilbert might have kept it on the quarterback option play. He's thrown backwards. Tough sledding inside there. The Appomattox defensive line is making between the tackles a dangerous place for Altavista ball carriers.
There's one number for Appomattox that's not on their roster. It's number 36. He is getting back into those alleys very quick. He's like a world-class sprinter, and he's rattling Christian's cage. He's rattling Shaheem's cage before they can even break up the field. It's kind of interesting this Appomattox defense is.
It's at the nose guard spot there. It's 5 down linemen again for the Raiders. They give it to Aaron Close on a designed tailback run. Again, no room in between the tackles. He favored the right side, but there was just nothing there. It'll set up 3rd and 10 for the Colonels offense. 3:45 left to play in the English's, your complete home center. First quarter, 14-0, the Appomattox lead. They scored on both the possessions that they've had. The Colonels are in the midst of their second possession. First one ended in a punt.
Looks like to me, you called this number already, number 54, Daniel Baldwin, a 6-foot, 250-pound senior, was back there to make that tackle. This Appomattox defense is fast, physical, and tough.
Rugged. They are a rugged, hard-hitting defense. Option play again. Gilbert wanted to go outside, got pinball back to the inside. Now he's thrown down to the turf again. A lot of Raiders in the backfield. Devon Graves was back there. Baldwin was back there again. That's a loss of only 1 yard, but it makes it 4th and 11. Now a true punting situation for the Colonels offense here on their own 49-yard line.
Appomattox, it doesn't second-guess your call. The guy got their man back deep. We're set up for the punt, and we'll be talking about that tough Carhartt-like defense all night.
There you go. Raiders punt team looks like they're showing a block here. Snap is a little wide. Pennell had to run it down. He snagged it with one hand and then got it away on the run. It was a pretty good kick. Good blocking here on the punt return initially. Now the ball carrier is shoved out of bounds. That was number 39, Josh Ellis, that was able to make it back to the 29-yard line. Adams was there. Also, oh gosh, who was that, Dennis? Was it number 24, Jaden Gilbert, that was over there forcing them out?
I don't know if it's 21 or 24. These numbers are hard to call for Appomattox. But real quick, let's talk about the athleticism of Shaheem on that punt. The snap was wide and to the left, a little bit off. He couldn't get the ball down, and he just barely missed it getting blocked. And that was a wonderful punt. And, you know, Appomattox doesn't start with the best field position again on their third possession of the game.
That's actually their worst field position of the game, if you can believe that here. Ball resting on their own 29-yard line, just inside the left hash mark. Raiders still working right to left from our perspective here. It's a good crowd on the far side for Appomattox. They travel well. This is Bailey on the carry. He's going to get strung out to the outside. Colonel's defense had good pursuit and was able to throw him down just beyond the 30-yard line. Actually gave him a pretty good spot up to the 33-yard line.
But you know, let's give credit where credit's due. Number 4, Aaron Close, was out a couple of weeks ago. He's back healthy, showing us what he had in that kind of mid-season form again. He didn't allow that runner to get out on the seam and would have picked up a lot of yardage. Give credit to Aaron for staying with the play and following through.
Yeah, Coach Jarvis was very complimentary of Aaron Close last week. Thought he didn't really miss a beat. He figured it would take him 3 or 4 quarters to get back in the swing of things. High snap that's pulled down by Javon Scruggs. He'll bulldoze ahead like a fullback and get it across the 40-yard line to the 41. That moves the chains with 1:44 left to play here in the first quarter. Raiders still sporting the 14-0 advantage.
I said because number 11 for Appomattox, Omar Bailey, a senior, 5'9", 170 pounds, looked like it was going to be a jet sweep at first. And Scruggs is like, nope, I don't know if you need the ball or not. And he went and ran it himself because it could have been a little bit of misdirection there from Appomattox not communicating effectively.
Yeah, the timing was slightly off on the wide receiver jet motion, and then the snap was high, too. Scruggs doesn't like the way things look. He'll call the timeout himself. We'll take a timeout, too. Appomattox leading 14-0 over Altavista. 1:18 left to play in the first quarter on 105.5 KD Country.
English is
so much more.
English is
more than a hardware store.
English is.
My friends may call me the perfectionist, but at English's Building Supply, my neighborhood Davis paint dealer, they greet me by name. You see, I like to get things done exactly right, especially when it comes to my many painting projects. So I'm at English's Building Supply a lot, whether it's mixing the perfect Davis paint for my project or offering great incentives. They do business just the way I like it, perfectly. English's on North Main Street, Altavista.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
Javon Scruggs, the heady senior quarterback for the Appomattox Raiders, didn't like the way his offense was operating there. Maybe somebody out of position in the formation. So he called the timeout as he was getting ready to snap the football. And Doug Smith will talk things over with his ball club. Mike Sharness and his group does the same. It's 1st and 10 for the Raiders. Far hash mark, the Altavista 42-yard line. Dennis, first quarter going the way you thought it would so far?
A little more impressive than I thought. You know, we look at statistics, you watch game film. Appomattox is very, it's almost effortless how quick and cautious and efficient they are on offense and defense. Pretty amazing.
Shotgun formation again. Wow. It's an option play to the right. Scruggs is going to keep it full head of steam. He's galloping across the 40-yard line, down the far sideline. No one is going to catch Javon Scruggs. He is in for the 3rd time tonight, this time from 58 yards out. It was an option play to the right. He cut it up the seam and then went outside. Once he got into 5th gear, nobody was running down Javon Scruggs, number 1 for the Appomattox Raiders.
You know, last week I talked about when Christian Gilbert hit that 70-yard touchdown run, it was like running downhill on Lola Avenue. I think Mr. Scruggs listened to that play call because that's exactly what it was. It was a downhill run, opened up with the wide receivers blocking for him, a solid, tough offensive line, and you're going to call this young man going to kick his 3rd point after attempt here in about a nanosecond.
Yeah, this is Nick Ferris, the kicker for Appomattox. The snap is clean. He gets the right boot on the football and sends it through. Appomattox leading 21-0 0. 1:07 left to play in the first quarter. Altavista football when we return on 105.5 KD Country.
Napa know-how.
Right now, Napa Full Synthetic Motor Oil is on sale for just $4.29 a quart. Quality motor oil at an affordable price. A deal so good it practically sells itself. Which begs the question, what do we do with the rest of this commercial? Repeat the deal, I guess. Napa Full Synthetic Motor Oil for just $4.29 a quart. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 10/31/17.
Napa Auto Parts, Main Street, Altavista, across from Feller Chevrolet.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
Javon Scruggs has 3 rushing touchdowns. We're not even out of the first quarter yet, Dennis. He had 3 big rushing TDs against Gretna when they beat the Hawks a few weeks ago. Tonight, looks like Javon Scruggs has got all the good stuff going. He really hasn't even had to throw the football that much. But the Raiders, they're on top by 3 scores, and we've still got 1:07 left in the first. Here's Ferris with another long boot. This one's going to drive Pennell back to about the 2-yard line. He'll get it out from there, going up the middle, dancing east to west. Ooh, hops out of a couple tackles. Now he tries to split defenders at the 12-yard line. Gets out to the 15. He was brought down by number 21, Robert Callahan. He had a little bit of help out there as well, and the Colonels take over for their third possession of the ball game on their own 16-yard line.
You know, we were talking in the commercial break. Wow, what did you expect? This is a quick, efficient, very fundamentally sound Appomattox team. I'm going to say thus far, one of the better teams we've watched in person or got to call tonight. But not to take anything away from Altavista. This is our third possession. We're going to be starting the game, starting it right here. You're going to have the call. And let's pick up some positive yards and keep this clock and the momentum on our side.
Christian Gilbert readies himself for the snap, takes it, gives it to Shaheem Pennell. He busts through. Pennell's got some room. Stiff arms a man at the 32-yard line, but he's brought down. He only had one man to beat. Nice job by Pennell. Brody Williams took him down. Pennell with some good running and a good hole up front. Broke through that initial first wave of defenders, then had a lot of room to run. Ball's out to the 39-yard line now.
That run would not have occurred had it not been for our big young horses up front. The Altavista Colonel offensive line found a way for the big bulldozer to bust through, and it was a shoestring tackle that really stopped what would have been a touchdown, in my opinion, for Shaheem.
On paper, it's a 23-yard gain. Might give the Colonels a little more momentum than just 23 yards. They see they can do it now. They give it to Pennell again. He's going to follow the pulling guard from left to right. Good surge over there at the point of attack for the Colonels' O-line. There really wasn't a hole, but Pennell's able to force it ahead for about 5 or 6 yards.
You know, football said it earlier, it's a game of inches. We're pushing, we're pulling. We've just shown the troops here and the fans listening on the radio and the great crowd we have on both sides of the field here. You know, you want to play smash mouth football, we're ready, we're here. Altavista run game is real.
It is. End of the first quarter. Here's for the Colonels' offense and run game. We'll have to wait for a brief timeout. 21-0, the Appomattox lead. We'll take a timeout, too. Altavista football to start the second quarter when you return to 105.5 KD Country.
Thinking of starting a business or expanding your company? Think about choosing Altavista as your location to invest and grow. Altavista offers low utility cost, broadband internet, US 29 access, and an attractive quality of life. You'll score big just like the Colonels when you invest in Altavista. Huddle up with the Altavista Office of Economic Development at Altavista Town Hall.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
Second quarter about to get underway. It's presented by English's, your complete home center. North Main Street in Altavista. They open at 8 a.m. on Sundays. Teams will flip sides of the field. Altavista now working right to left. It'll be 2nd and 4 for the Colonels offense. Far hash mark right. Dennis will recap that first quarter here in just a moment. Let's see what the Colonels offense can get going. Christian Gilbert overlooks the defense. Now he's ready for the snap. They get Adams in motion. They hand it to him. He's got some room out here on the near sideline. Breaks a tackle. Now a juke move at the 40. He'll get tossed out of bounds. Physically, a flag comes out. Yeah, it wasn't so much the tackle. It was sort of the throw at the end of the tackle, I think, and it came about 3 yards out of bounds. So this will be 15 free yards for the Colonels offense. It was a nice gain for Adams anyway, a 17-yard pickup on second down, but add 15 more onto it, and all of a sudden the Colonels do have some momentum, it would appear, even though they trail 21-0.
You know, we do trail 21-0, but when you're watching football and you're talking about the next level and keeping momentum, we're playing very solid. Offensive line is blocking. Look at that right there. Jacob already had 17 yards on the jet sweep, and that happened because of blocking downfield and his expertise and his speed. But it helped. It's a whole team fundamental initiative, and we're going to maybe put 6 in this end zone real quick.
Shotgun formation again. They hand off to Jonathan Montague. He gets bounced outside to the right. Didn't think he wanted to take it outside, but the tackler sort of forced him there and then brought him down after a loss of 2 or 3 yards. Second down on the way with 11:28 left to play in the second quarter. Appomattox leading Altavista 21-0.
You know, we talked about that earlier. There's a lot of Appomattox Raiders that get back there and knock on the door real quick. Jonathan didn't have the hole. His A-gap wasn't there as he came out on the B side and was trying to roll off. They're just they're fast. This defense is as fast as anybody we've watched all year.
I would agree. Stanton River was a little bit bigger, but I think Appomattox probably is a step faster, at least on the defensive side of the football. Gilbert wants to throw. He's got pressure coming from behind. Oh, he gets tripped up. Tackler just dove at the back of his legs, and that was enough to bring him down. It was number 21, Robert Callahan, that was able to trip him up there just inside the 30-yard line. This is a loss of 2 or 3 again. Sets up 3rd and long for the Colonels offense. They're going the wrong direction now.
Wrong direction, but we've called that Mr. Callahan's number several times. He's quick, he's fleet of foot, and just as we said before, you're right. Stanton River, William Campbell, Gretna, Dan River, big physical defenses, but uncharacteristic for Altavista this season, quick on defense. This is what this Raiders team is.
See what the Colonels offense tries here on 3rd and 15. Could go for it on 4th down, so you might not have to get all of it. It's a wide receiver sweep. Adams wants to throw. It was a trick play. Jacob Adams does not have time to get rid of the football as he's dropped at the 35-yard line. It's a loss of 9 for the Altavista offense. They're really going the wrong direction. I like the idea of the trick play there, but you got to block it and have enough time to execute it, and the Colonels couldn't do it on that 3rd down play.
You know, we're going to keep repeating this tonight. That was a well-executed, well-designed play. Not executed to the efficiency, but the fact that the Raiders are quick and fast. We had 21, Tyler Gord, was down the seam. That would have been a big first down, a potential touchdown, just snapped away from Altavista.
Colonels might punt it away here. We'll see. I mean, the ball's on their own 34-yard line. Nope, passing play instead on 4th and long. Gilbert lobs it up high for Adams. It's intercepted at the 25-yard line, streaking down the near sideline. Here come the Raiders on the interception return. The quarterback, Gilbert, will try and get it on the play, but instead it's Aaron Close that will bring down number 17, Colin Shaw, who intercepted it at the 15. I said the 25. He picked it at the 15 and then had a nice blocking scheme out here on the near sideline that got him all the way down into Altavista territory. Football now on the 28-yard line.
You know, that was a 4th down play, but that had that special teams kind of feel because it's about the same level of yardage that the punt would have went. And what a nice seam, as you said it. Appomattox is sound in 3 facets of the game. But when you go to offensive defense real quick, you know, Aaron was there and shut down what would have been a touchdown for Appomattox.
Good hustle by Aaron Close. Christian Gilbert was in the area too. Raiders will get set here on 1st and 10. Running fake. Now it's a pass. Heaving in the end zone is Scruggs. It got knocked away. Pardon me. He was looking for Dews, and that ball was knocked out of bounds, or knocked out of his hands, rather. They'll bring up 2nd and 10 now for the Raiders offense.
Well, this is an interesting situation. This is one of those great field position alternatives for Appomattox. They've started way back deep for them. They're deep in Colonel territory, driving the ball. They want to put another touchdown on the board and maybe let these starters rest.
Appomattox already leads 21-0. Passing play again. Scruggs looks left, finds Dews. He steps out of one tackle. He's across the 20, full speed inside the 15. Lowers his shoulder, and he's on his feet in the end zone. What a running play there after the catch from Devin Dews. He ran through a couple tacklers there at the 5-yard line after showcasing the moves at the first part of the run after the catch. Scruggs has now thrown a touchdown to go with his 3 rushing touchdowns, and the Raiders now lead 27-0, extra point pending.
You know that song, I Got the Moves Like Jagger?
I do know that
song.
Well,
let me tell you what, he had the moves like Jagger, and I've never seen this all season. Aaron Close was laying on the field, had stars in his eyes. Don't mean to say that in a bad way. Aaron's getting up going like, I haven't been hit like that in a long time. That was a big hit.
28-yard pass and catch. It's a 2-play, 28-yard drive. The kick from Ferris is good. It's a 28-point lead for the Appomattox Raiders. Altavista football, 8:52 left to play in the first half on 105.5 KD Country.
PCM Industrial of Altavista offers mobile welding and repair services, fully equipped service trucks, certified craftsmen, and quick response to satisfy your needs. Contact PCM Industrial at powerconstruction.com. PCM Industrial is a fully insured Class A licensed contractor, OSHA and MSHA compliant. PCM Industrial Services of Altavista wishes Coach Sharness and the Altavista Colonels football team good luck in another winning season. Go Colonels.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
The Appomattox Raiders have things going their way at the moment. It's a 28-0 Appomattox lead. The Altavista Colonels had some momentum on their previous drive, but it stalled out, ended in an interception, and then the Raiders didn't take long to pick up their 4th touchdown of the ball game.
Wow. Didn't mean to sound humorous. You got those moves like Jagger or pick on on Aaron, but that's a kind of touchdown you're going to watch in any level of college football tomorrow or tonight. Like Marshall and Florida Atlantic are playing. That was a big time hit. That's a solid shows that Appomattox is in the weight room working each week in between practices and games.
Nick Ferris is 4 for 4 on the extra points. He'll try another kickoff. This one he hangs very high up in the November sky. It's fielded inside the far right sideline at the 10-yard line by Jacob Adams. Tries to hop over a tackler, and then he's met by the rest of the Appomattox coverage unit, brought down at the 17-yard line.
Jake was a high stepper there trying to bounce out to the outside. It looks like to me there's a flag on the play here. Did they wave it off, or nope, they're going to back the ball up on us. There seems to be the first penalty on Altavista here.
It looks like the ball's going to stay at the 17-yard line. They must have picked it up there, Dennis. They fooled you, and that's very difficult to do, especially after a nice meal from the Tuscan Italian Grill. But we'll wait for the halftime show to talk about that. Colonels get their offensive personnel set here on 1st and 10 near left hash mark. No Raiders showing blitz. They drop back in coverage. It's a pass from Gilbert. He was looking for Bailey Stinnett on the far right sideline. Sails over his head, incomplete. It'll bring up 2nd and 10.
We haven't got to call Bailey's number or name a lot this year because he had a knee injury. He's back. A couple of 10 days off we had. Got these guys, these young members back and healthy. Christian, uncharacteristic at throwing that ball out there high. Generally, that would have been a first down for us. But this Raider defense, what is it? It's fast.
No doubt about it. Christian had a pretty good pocket to throw from initially, and then it started collapsing. He got the pass off. Running play on 2nd down. They hand to Shaheem Pinnell. He's taken down around the 18-yard line. Modest pickup there on 2nd and 10. It'll bring up 3rd and 9. 8:25 left to play in the Englishes, your complete home center. Second quarter. It's a 28-0 Appomattox lead. Let's see if the Colonels can keep this drive going. They look to the near sideline here to get the play in from Coach Mike Sharness. Mentioned it's a good crowd for both sides. I mean, that's about as full as we've seen the visitors' stands in a while, Dennis. The Appomattox Raiders travel well. They wanted to see their ball club wrap up regular season. Here comes the shotgun snap. Gilbert fakes it, keeps it himself, had a hole to run through, but he was brought down from the backside by number 56, Zach Smith, who plunged into the backfield and was able to get a couple hands on Christian Gilbert.
That's a rare junior we're going to be calling tonight in Zach Smith. He's 5'10", 170 at a middle linebacker. This Appomattox team's senior-laden. It's 14 seniors, 15 juniors, not so young, 11 sophomores and 3 freshmen. That's why this class, this big group is over here watching their Raiders play tonight.
Punting formation on 4th and 10 for the Colonels.
Oh.
Pennell's kick is blocked. It got bounced into the backfield. It's in the end zone now. Raiders dive after it. I think they have it, and it is a touchdown for Appomattox. Touchdown for the Raiders after the blocked punt. Jeez. It was scooped up in the end zone. There was about 5 Raiders in the area trying to see who came out of the pile with it. Whoever it is, he's limping over there on the far sideline, making it difficult for us to tell the number. It's a touchdown for Appomattox, 34-0 the lead. The extra point is coming up. This time points off of the blocked punt. Pennell was moving slowly to his right to try and punt the ball away, and the rush was heavy. They got in the backfield and took it away from his foot. Here comes the extra point. It's number 21, Robert Callahan on the hold. Ferris with the right foot. It's good. 35-0. The Appomattox lead is growing. We've got 7:14 left to play in the second quarter. Altavista football again when we return. It's high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Your home is your biggest investment. It must be handled properly. Let the professionals at D.L. Bryant Heating and Cooling handle your home issues. Donnie and his trained professional staff are ready at 434-841-1580. They can make sure your home or business HVAC system is ready. Ready for the rest of the summer and ready for the upcoming fall and winter. Call D.L. Bryant Heating and Cooling at 434-841-1580. That's 841-1580. D.L. Bryant is ready to protect your investment.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Appomattox 35, Altavista 0. And the Raiders proving they are very good. Some folks were talking at the beginning of the year, Appomattox lost a lot of guys from last year. They, et cetera, might be vulnerable. I don't think so, Dennis. This is a very good football team.
Very good. And football's 3 facets: special teams, offense, and defense. With 7:14 left in the second quarter, this is the most fundamentally full three-phased team you and I have watched all season.
Run up in the boot here on another kick, and it looks like Ferris got even more into this one. Fielded on the line drive at the 5-yard line. This is Jacob Adams. Started down the right seam. Now he's angling right to left across the field, across the 20. Wrapped up, shoved out of bounds, never went down to the turf. Football went out around the 30-yard line. That's where the Colonels will start. 7 minutes left to play in the half, Mr. Jarvis.
Guess who wrapped up whom on that tackle? Mr. Scruggs was showing us. He's shown us his feet. He's shown us his arms. He shows us on defense now on special teams. That was the quarterback wrapping up our number 1, Mr. Adams, pushing him out of bounds. Speed on speed for that one. And this young man, Mr. Scruggs, is probably one of the most impressive young men we've watched play all year.
Pretty impressive that he does it on all 3 phases of the game. A lot of time you want to protect your talented quarterback, give him a rest, those kinds of things, but Raiders not too worried about that. Not right now, anyway. Gilbert wants to throw, steps away from a oncoming rusher. Yeah. Now he'll tuck it down and run. Good move, but the ball popped out. Ball comes out at the 32-yard line. It's recovered by Appomattox. That's Devon Graves that got down on the ground and scooped it up. It was a nice initial run from Christian Gilbert. As he was going to the ground, the ball got dislodged, rolled around for a moment. Scruggs picked it up, pouncing on it at the 32-yard line.
Well, that's amazing. Christian gets out, gets a good seam, and fundamentally sound teams like this Appomattox Raiders, knocking the ball. You're looking for every inch that gives you more inches than the other team. Now it's the 5th possession for Appomattox, starting on that 35-yard line for Appomattox, deep in our territory. It's got me tongue-tied. I'm a bit awestruck in what's going on right here in English Stadium tonight.
Seeing a very good football team here in the Appomattox Raiders. Two receivers to each side in a shotgun formation for Javon Scruggs. He'll hand off to Omar Bailey, running play up the middle. Small gain there on first down. Clock moving, 6:40 left to play in the English is your complete home center. Second quarter, 35-0, the Appomattox lead. They're moving left to right from our perspective in their road white jerseys.
You know, Kyle, I'm finding few words tonight to talk about this because, you know, Appomattox is just kind of what they are. They're 8-1. They're showing why they're a two-time defending state champion. They're very athletic. They're very fast. And, we're going to see one more touchdown here real quickly, unless I'm wrong.
Raiders put a man in motion from right to left. Option play to the left. Scruggs first fakes the pitch. Now he does pitch it to Bailey. Bailey got hit up high and then clobbered at the 20-yard line. Sort of flew in the air all the way to the 16 or 17. Fresh set of downs coming up for the Appomattox offense. They're working efficiently. They're running the ball well. They're throwing the ball some. This option attack led by Javon Scruggs, gosh, that's pretty dangerous stuff.
It was dangerous. That's textbook option football. Right at the seam, finds your A man, hits his A number one hole, and he runs and picks up a huge first down for these Raiders. This is a fairly most impressive, amazing. Here goes Scruggs under center.
Scruggs, handoff to Bailey. Starts up off right tackle. Now he's over there to the far sideline left. Knocked out inside the 5-yard line. Colonels were all around him for a while there. They weren't able to ever really bring him down until he got inside the 5. Jonathan Montague and Christian Gilbert teaming up on the far sideline for the stop.
You know, that number 11 is Omar Bradley, a senior, 5'8", 170 pounds, 5'9", rather. I think he plays a lot bigger than that. He's about 6 foot and 220 pounds, it looks like, from my perspective. And, boy, he can really move. He is light-footed and just can dance around.
Raiders knocking on the door again. Handoff, first man through, diving for the end zone. It's a touchdown for the Raiders again on the running play. Give it off to Omar Bailey again for a touchdown.
I don't think so.
See if we can identify the ball carrier there. He was either Bailey or Jalen Holland, I believe.
I think
in
it was
the end zone
Holland
for 6 that time, and it's 41-0. Appomattox on top.
I think it was Jalen Holland. I don't think that Mr. Bradley. And you know, isn't that an odd name, Omar Bradley? It's the same as the famous general from World War II.
Extra point try on the way again. It's Robert Callahan holding and Nick Ferris ready to kick. 41-0, the Appomattox lead. Under 5 minutes to play in the half. Ferris steps into the right-footed kick, knocks it through. It's good. 42-0, the Appomattox Raider lead. We've got less than 5 to play in the half on 105.5 KD Country.
English Construction Company has been in the building business since 1909, so it's only natural that they appreciate the building process. They recognize the fact that organized sports programs build character as well as bodies and minds. They know that high school sports build our youth into more well-rounded and more productive adults. English Construction Company is proud to be a sponsor of high school sports and salute all athletes, coaches, and teachers. A word of praise and encouragement from English Construction Company with offices in Lynchburg.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Altavista Colonels are on the ropes and then some here against Appomattox. First half score 42-0 Raiders. We've got 4:56 left to play in this English's your complete home center. Second quarter. I'm Kyle. He's Dennis. Katie's our sound engineer. Appreciate you hanging out, having a good time with us on a Friday night, last week of the regular season here in Virginia. Playoffs will start next week. Colonels will be at home. We'll talk more about that as the game wanders on into the second half, Dennis.
I'm still kind of speechless and tongue-tied tonight. This Appomattox team, it's not even that they're playing their best football at this time of the year. I think they played their best football all season long. And here comes Jacob on a really nice run on the kickoff return.
It was another good return. Adams got his hands on it, took it up the middle, then bounced outside near sideline left. Chopped down around the 25-yard line. Colonels will operate there. I don't think Coach Sharness would mind if they ran some time here off the clock, picked up a couple first downs, then maybe got it into the locker room at halftime. But we'll see. The Appomattox Raider team probably wants to get the ball back and hopefully score again before the half is done.
You know, it's a tale of two tapes. You got a second half coming up. You know, we talked about this earlier. Appomattox scores often in the first two quarters, and they set their starters in the second half. So they probably want to go drink some Gatorade. Ooh.
Hand off here to Pinnell. He's got some room, breaking free across the 35, running away from tacklers at the 40. Now he's cut down at the 35-yard line, more so to the 30-yard line. Pinnell, big running play there on first down for the Altavista Colonels, ripping off a 45-yard gain there to get things started on this drive before halftime. Good running play there from the Colonels.
Yes.
And Shaheem Pinnell.
That was a great line blocking up front. Same play that we called earlier at Shaheem, had a huge run on in the early start the second quarter. These are the type of plays you want to see set up against a single-A team that you'll be facing in the playoffs, and that's the type of football Altavista is known for. But, man, this Appomattox team, you're going to have to do that every play.
No break for Pinnell. They give it right back into him. Less room this time as he tried to work his way up the middle, maybe a yard at most on the first down running play. 4:10 left to play in the half here. It's a 42-0 Appomattox lead. Appomattox has scored on every possession. Colonels have punted it away 3 times. One of those was blocked, an interception and a fumble. Altavista's offense has gained some yards, but they have not been able to sustain much more than a play or two. Let's see if they can get it going here with under 4 minutes to play in a half. I'm sorry, Dennis.
Well, you know, we just got to keep the ball running and keep the clock running, like you said, so we can keep Appomattox's offense off the field.
Running play again. They hand off to Shaheem Pinnell, busting his way off the left tackle. Little bit of room there. He picks up 3 yards. It'll set up 3rd and 7, 3rd and a long 6 for the Altavista offense. They're in the home black jerseys, black pants.
We got Shaheem coming off and Jake Adams coming back in the game. And there's a lot of good sportsmanship going off there. Shaheem had a nice run, but just an equally great tackle from Appomattox, and they both slapped each other on the helmet saying, good effort, good job, appreciate what you're doing.
Colonel's offense set and ready to go here on 3rd and 6. Gilbert wants a man in motion. That was Adams. They fake it to him. They hand instead to Jonathan Montague. Yes. He's busting free now across the 25, falling down at the 21-yard line. Right at the first down marker, and the officials will give him the spot. They say it's enough. Moving the sticks is the Altavista offense. 2:55 left to play in the English's second quarter. They trail 42-0, but they're on the move here in the waning portions of the first half.
4 weeks ago, we weren't able to call Jonathan Montague on the ball carrier because of that high ankle injury, that shin injury. And it's good to see him back in what we have grown in Altavista and known, his big, strong form.
Running play again. Gilbert kept it. Thrown backwards. Just nothing there on the option keeper. Colonels put a man in motion, but it didn't seem to deceive the Appomattox defense too much. It's a loss of half a yard. Not much more than that. 2:19 left to play in the half. Colonels, what a boost it would be to score before the halftime break.
Would be a boost to score. We scored on that last play of the second quarter, next to last play of the second quarter against Stanton River on that big jet sweep from Jacob Adams. Would be nice to get this pay dirt for the Colonels and these hometown faithfuls here tonight supporting the team.
2nd and 11. Handoff play off left tackle. Nothing doing there for the Altavista Colonels ball carrier. Believe it's Pinnell. He's staying on the ground for a little bit here. He's not hopping right back up. Referees will blow a whistle, and now Angela Emerson and her training staff are going to run out and check on him. Coach Emerson, one of the best in the business, and her staff equally as capable, but you never like to have to use them. We'll take a timeout here with the injury on the field. It's Appomattox 42, Altavista 0. 1:45 left to play in the half on 105.5 KD Country.
No one knows trucks like we know trucks. Come see us and you'll agree. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC. Come on in with the family. See your friends at Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
injured player for the Altavista Colonels still being attended to, but Dennis and I can find plenty of things to chat about here. It's a 42-0 Appomattox lead at the moment. If you joined us late, it was a whole lot of Javon Scruggs in the first quarter. 3 rushing touchdowns, one from 3 yards out, one from 33 yards out, and one from 58 yards out. He's thrown a touchdown pass, too, to Dews, and it's, an Appomattox offense. Don't forget the Appomattox defense either. They've got an interception, fumble recovery, block punt as well.
You know, I agree with you. This is a lot of impressive stuff, but this is one of these situations I don't like commenting on right now. We've got Appomattox players all along the side, plus their staff on a knee. We haven't got our young man, our Colonel offensive player up yet. I didn't see who it was. I don't like calling numbers when I don't know who it is, but this late in the season, and we've got so much to look forward to going on in the playoffs and senior night, you don't want to see a young man hurt like this, but impressive. The Raiders fundamentally. Special teams, offense, and defense. I'm impressed with their leadership, their poise, and their sportsmanship. They came out in pregame carrying an American flag and an Appomattox County flag onto the field. They've been complimentary to our players, and for a big team like this coming to A-Town, they're kind of showing hospitality that a visitor generally never does.
Well, I think that's a common theme with a lot of these really good teams that Altavista's played. Pretty good sportsmanship. You know, they'll hit you hard for sure. They get after you, and then once the whistle blows, they'll help you up and pat you on the helmet and tell you what a good job you're doing, too. Stanton River was very much like that. Appomattox is like that, too. They play the game the right way. They play it hard, but they play it the right way. You don't see a lot of penalties, cheap shots, that kind of stuff. Injury timeout still happening on the field. Let me tell you more about Carhartt at English's. They have a wide variety of Carhartt clothing for men and women. It's durable, fashionable clothing that lets you live the lifestyle you want, tough and dependable. That's Carhartt. And, Dennis, it seems like every year or every game, I say it, the winter weather is coming. You wouldn't know from the 80 degrees today, but the cold weather is on the way, folks.
But you know, cold weather is coming. But, you know, let's say that you're an outdoors guy. You work outside. Carhartt has materials. They have fabrics that breathe, that give, that are good in 80-degree days in August or 14-degree days in January. And that's a nice thing about the team down at English's Hardware, that they can outfit you for whatever your needs are, fishing, hunting, working outside. I wear the Carhartt jeans and a pair of Carhartt pants on my motorcycle because they're more durable, they're safer. And I enjoy it. And you know, they've got boots. They've got football games tomorrow. They got out on their billboard, Orca coolers and tumblers. And they've got them in Virginia Tech, UVA. Don't really understand the Alabama connection they've got going on down there, which I don't like. But
well,
that's
some
okay.
people like Alabama.
Yeah, they do. You know, but you know, if they don't have your team in, they can order it for you as well.
That's exactly right. They can order a lot of things at English's, North Main Street in Altavista. It's going to get a couple players to help Pinnell off the field. So I would say that's somewhat of a good sign, Dennis, because when an injury's really bad, they'll bring out the stretcher or even the ambulance. But not so here. They're just going to sort of guide Pinnell over here to the near sideline. Crowd gives him a nice applause. You can tell he's not putting any kind of weight on – can't tell if I think he's not putting any weight on his right leg.
Kyle, I don't think that's Shaheem.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
That's
not.
DeAndre Jones, an offensive line, defensive line, 11th grader, 5'7", 205-pound junior. And he is coming off kind of limping, a little gimpy. And, you know, Altavista faithful wouldn't want to hear Shaheem was hurt, our leading rusher. But more importantly, we can't afford to lose a guy like DeAndre up front. This offensive line has been growing each week. And I wouldn't want to be one of these young men out there tonight blocking against this big, efficient, fundamental, quick Appomattox Raiders team. I'm hoping that DeAndre can shake this off and rest and get back for a playoff game next week. I hope it doesn't take him out of what has been a very deserving, great season for him thus far.
And I saw the 6 on the jersey, and I guess that's what threw me off. My apologies to fans and both the players involved there. It's a wide receiver sweep play for Jacob Adams. He is not able to turn the corner, thrown backwards to the 30-yard line. That's a loss of yards. It was hard to tell because the jersey was obscure, but it was DeAndre Jones, you're right, that was injured, and hopefully he's okay. Hey, we mentioned how thin the Colonel's roster is. I mean, you don't ever want to see anybody hurt, but they just can't afford too many injuries at this point.
No team this late in the season with postseason aspirations like both of these teams have. And especially for Altavista, there's 14 seniors and 15 juniors on that team across the way. That's more people than we've got active on our roster at any one time this season.
4th and long for the Colonel's offense. There's 58 seconds left to play in the half. Now I think Coach Sharnas really would like to let the play clock run down as much as he can. It's down to 7 now. This ball gets snapped with about 45 seconds left to play in the half. They hand it to Pinnell, and the ball popped free. It's Raider football. They pounced on it at the 29-yard line. Shaheem Pinnell got whacked as he was getting the handoff. Ball came free. It's an Appomattox fumble recovery.
Fumble recovered by number 56, Zach Smith, a 5'10", 170-pound junior. And you were right. I just think that Raider defense is so quick. It's been back here shaking Shaheem's cage, rattling Christian's cage. And, our momentum has been few and far between against this efficient, quick, fundamentally sound Appomattox special teams, defense, and offense. We're going to keep saying that all night, but they're dang good.
Believe it or not, it was the Colonel's best drive of the night. They picked up a full 50 yards, but again, it stalled out there at the end of it. Javon Scruggs wants to throw, steps in, flings it to the far sideline left. It's complete over there to Dews. Devin Dews has run out of bounds around the 50-yard line. You see Scruggs showcasing the effortlessly strong arm.
That's running like a 2-minute offense right there. Javon Scruggs dropped 3 steps back, had a pass that looks like a thread needle type of bullet pass. You'll see tomorrow at any level of college football, this young man is going to be big on the next level.
2 wide receivers to each side. Ball is on the left hash mark. He looks right, flings it out. He hit the target. That was number 10, Damon Patterson. Bounced off his pads and tumbled out of bounds, incomplete. Brings up 2nd and 10, 28 seconds left to play in the half.
Appomattox offense right now is going in like that 2-minute, like I said. Just some posts, some curl routes. Let's get to the edges. Let's get out of bounds, stop the clock, try to see if we can get the ball down the field. This isn't a cutthroat Appomattox team. This is a well-coached, sportsmanship-oriented team that's just running through their offensive plays, not trying to hit the big strike and put this one out of touch for Altavista.
Ooh, Scruggs wants to pass again. Sidesteps an oncoming defender. Now he's in the run.
Wow.
Full stride across the 35. Cuts back inside at the 30. Slips and falls down under pressure at the 23-yard line. Scruggs with a nice quarterback scramble there. Gets the Raiders really within striking distance here with 16.6 seconds left. Timeout on the field. The Raiders offense wants to talk over their plan of attack. We'll take the timeout too. Appomattox 42, Altavista 0. Late stages of the first half on 105.5 KD Country.
Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving family since 1905.
Service you can trust and prices that work for your family. During the moments in life that matter, you'll be able to feel the difference made by family ownership. Finch and Finch, families serving families since 1905.
Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving family since 1905.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
16.6 seconds left in the first half. It's a 42-0 Appomattox lead. The reigning and defending 2A state champions, giving Altavista all they can handle and then some here in this first half.
Daniel Triplett got back there in the backfield, and he was right on Mr. Scruggs, and Daniel didn't wrap up, and a good stiff arm by Mr. Scruggs, the Appomattox quarterback, and one heck of a run.
Scruggs wants to throw again. Sets up in the pocket. Soft pass over the middle to number 4, Drew Mann. Mann is solo tackled down there at the 15-yard line. Colonel's defense converged well. It's another timeout for Appomattox, but let's keep it right here. It was Christian Gilbert, I believe, on that solo tackle, Mr. Jarvis.
Good call. You can't, if you can't see the number, you see the golden shoes. Christian's been wearing those most of the season, and it's easier when you call his number when you know what the shoes are. Christian's real sound. He tackles well. He rolls out. He locks down. With not 0.2 seconds left, Appomattox is just kind of saying, hey, what should we do? I even think...
Skirt it inside the left upright. The kick is good. The lead is now 45-0 for Appomattox. Quick timeout here. We've got 3.6 seconds left in the first half. Colonels will get a chance to handle a kickoff, and then it'll be halftime on 105.5 KD Country.
When you need an important business loan, you want to deal with a decision maker who will respond quickly. I'm Penny Wallace with local First National Bank at our airport branch. I'm focused on business customers, and we have a streamlined process to help you with any loan need. I can offer various business loans for real estate, new equipment, and credit lines. So for better business banking, think of us first. That's local First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Nick Ferris is a junior kicker/punter for Appomattox. He's a 32-yard, converts a 32-yard field goal. Pardon me, Mr. Jarvis. And gosh, he probably doesn't have to punt that much for Appomattox, but he gets a lot of practice kicking the extra points, and here nails the field goal. He's got a great leg.
He does, and I have a connection I want to talk about later in the game with him.
He'll run up and bang another kickoff down to the 1-yard line. Adams Fields there, angles his way back to the middle. Now he'll work west to east across the field, trying to step out of a few tackles. He's not going anywhere. Stopped at the 10 and thrown down. The first half has come to a close. It's been all Appomattox, 45-0. Raiders lead the Altavista Colonels. The Tuscan Italian Grill halftime show is on the way when you return. Award-winning high school sports coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
Stay cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling on the ready to keep you comfortable year-round. Locally owned and operated, just a call away with over 20 years experience. Licensed and bonded. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, specializing in heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Any season, anytime. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Give them a call today. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, Gretna.
Fun times are waiting for you at El Cazador, Altavista's oldest Mexican restaurant. Relax in comfort with daily food and drink specials, Mexican and American foods, and a children's menu too. Call for takeout or go online to elcazadorva.com. El Cazador is a proud supporter of community activities like high school sports and the Y. El Cazador is open 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by before or after the game.
To become a Moose is an awesome feeling. You just can't belong to a better organization.
I was born and raised in a Moose, and I'll be a Moose the rest of my life. My son is a Moose. We're 3-generation Moose loggers. That's how it is with us. I hope everybody else that can join and become a member, you need to do it. You need to see what it does for us.
Why I belong to the Moose. For friendship, for the children, and most of all for the seniors.
What are you waiting for? Stop by the Moose Family Center in Altavista to learn more about how you can be a Moose.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
The Tuscan Italian Grill halftime show is here. It's high school sports on 105.5 KD Country. I'm Kyle. He's Dennis, the star of the show tonight, though. The Appomattox Raiders football team. They're putting it on Altavista at the moment, 45-0.
Yes.
Back-to-back state championships for the Raiders. They're gunning for a third in a row, and it looks like the machine is well-oiled and running on all cylinders, Dennis.
It is. You know, we've got a freight train running on that north-south, Norfolk-Southern line right across from us over here, and that's a good metaphor for what's going on with this Appomattox Raiders. You know, they drove the kickoff down very deep. They quick strike 14-0 early. This Javon Scruggs is showing why He's not going to go too far down 460 to come to Liberty to go to the next level and play with them as they transition into a full-time FBS member next year. This offensive line, this defensive line for Appomattox is sound. As we've talked all season, you've heard Coach Jarvis talk about it. Football is 3 stages: special teams, defense, and offense. And I haven't seen a kink in an armor for Appomattox. You know, that one loss they had was against Heritage High School back in early stages of the season. And you know, Doug Smith, the head coach, we talked about this earlier. He was a former head coach over at Heritage, on the staff at Heritage. And, you know, he's a protege, a product of our head coach, and Coach Jarvis. And, you know, there's a lot of commonality here. If you look at this, August 31st, Appomattox 42, Rutsburg, a common opponent, 18. The 22nd of September, 34-17 over Dan River. Chatham, 58-7 on my brother's birthday, the 6th of October. They beat Gretna 42-6. And then, you know, they were on the road at Colonial Heights, and we talked about that last week, that big, impressive showing they had. This is the best team, Kyle, we've watched all season. And I say that over a Stanton River, Gretna, William Campbell. I'd be really scared if I was a AA team in the state of Virginia, like Graham or someone from the western side of the state. This is a really daggone good football team, and they're impressive.
It sure is. You know what else is impressive?
What?
The Tuscan Italian Grill. They're on the Clarion Road in Altavista. Lunch and dinner, 7 days a week. The lunch buffet is $6.99. All you can eat: pizza, pasta, salad, subs. It's great stuff over there at the Tuscan. Dennis, you and I will think about football, and then we'll think about food a little bit more during this quick timeout. 45-0. The Appomattox Raider lead over the Altavista Colonels. You're hearing it live on 105.5 KD Country.
The game is brought to you by these members of the KD Country Sports Club.
Radio Shack and Crystal Bay Pools, serving your area since 1989 for swimming pool installations, chemicals, liners, and more.
El Cerrito. Throw on a sombrero. Shake your maracas. It's El Cerrito time. Authentic Mexican cuisine only El Cerrito can serve up.
One Stop Mart, Main Street, Altavista, where the gas is cheap, beverages are cold, and the chicken is kicking.
McDonald's of Altavista, proud supporter of the Altavista Colonels. Stop by or drive through before or after the game.
The Dairy Freeze with hot dogs, burgers, fries, and of course ice cream. They're doing it right at the Freeze on Main Street, Altavista.
Old Dominion Insurance. See Kim and Gil, your Erie insurance agents on Main Street, Gretna, next to Tyler Flower Shop.
Thanks for sponsoring tonight's broadcast on 105.5 KD Country.
A short drive will save you money.
This is Greg Walker with Feller Chevrolet. Our new 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty has many customers buying from us instead of the competition. Covers any vehicle purchased up to 10 years old with less than 150,000 miles, new or used. With our 3-day money-back guarantee, you can buy with confidence. Where else can you get great prices, good selection, 3-day money-back guarantee, and a warranty that gives you 10 years of protection? Come see us. You'll be glad you did.
Feller Chevrolet in Altavista.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
Appomattox leading Altavista 45-0. It's the Tuscan Italian Grill halftime show. The scoring went like this for Appomattox. Javon Scruggs, 3 first-quarter rushing touchdowns. It gives him, 11 rushing touchdowns on the season. Then he threw a touchdown to Devin Dews. That's his 22nd passing TD of the year. Raiders blocked a punt. We're not sure who got credit for picking it up in the end zone. There was a pile of bodies around it. Omar Bailey had a 4-yard rushing touchdown, and then Nick Ferris knocked in a 32-yard field goal with about 4 seconds left to play in the half. It's a 45-0 Appomattox lead. It'll be a running clock in the second half, Dennis. And I think both teams are probably going to rest some of their starters. Again, playoffs next week for both ball clubs. You really, at this point, the game is decided, barring some kind of a major/minor miracle. I don't know. What's your take on that? How much would you play your guys if you were a coach?
Statistics just show that Appomattox is playing their sophomores, their freshmen, their juniors in the second half because they're only averaging about 9 points total in the third and fourth quarters combined. you know, it's a question for us, not who you play, but how much do you play? I mean, you know, we're a young team with a few numbers. We've got 9 seniors on this team tonight that got their numbers enshrined over to the left of us, about the 35-yard line, 20-yard line. You know, you can't discredit. This is their night. This is senior night. This is what they've worked 9 weeks for. That we all know this season hasn't been what they expected or what Colonel Faithful expected, but who knew? Who knew at this first weekend in November we would have record-breaking weather and heat, and we'd see record-breaking performance, particularly. I don't know how record-breaking it is, but it broke our record tonight of what we could hope for as a November surprise and a big win on senior night. But, you know, before we started this game, you and I went to what is our ritual thus far, going up to the Tuscan Italian Grill, and Duffy came out and talked to us and talked about how excited he was that we're there for him a couple of times a week, and he's feeding us pretty well.
Yeah, the Tuscan Italian Grill is just amazing. Great service, great food choices. I got the pizza roll again. You went with the chicken parmesan sub. That looked delicious. I may have just taken a small bite when you made that trip to the bathroom and you weren't looking. But great time up there at the Tuscan. It's just off Route 29. I mean, it's an easy on and off 29. So we're talking to all you folks that live out of town, too. It's not just an Altavista scene up there. It's great food. Make your trip up there. I think you'll really enjoy it.
There was some Appomattox faithful in 2 booths behind us. They let us know that. And you know, the staff was telling us that took a little longer to bring our check out tonight because they were sampling a new dessert menu item that Duffy wanted them to try to be able to talk about, and that was this fall favorite, pumpkin spice cheesecake. And, you know, when Duffy came over and talked to us, he talked about how integral pumpkins have been in his family, not just for decoration, but for cooking. And, you know, I was at my last Rotary meeting this week, and real remiss that I say that, but we had the bar, and, you know, I did have the chicken parmesan. I've got half of it to take home. There'll be breakfast in the morning, and my wife is coming down for the weekend. She doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to have me a Southwest burger tomorrow night and fries to go watch the Hokies in Miami in that big game in Coral Gables tomorrow night. It's ACC Coastal Supremacy tomorrow, rather. But, you know, supremacy. You got a Supreme Pizza. You got your Supreme Pizza roll. I'm telling you, I'm from West Virginia. We have pepperoni rolls. Pardon my English. The pepperoni rolls in West Virginia ain't got nothing on what you had across the table from me tonight. That big old sucker. It looks more like a pepperoni horseshoe. That's what you call it.
Yeah.
I mean,
gosh. I did. A pepperoni horseshoe is exactly right. We're talking about the Tuscan Italian Grill in Altavista. They're on the Clarion Road, just off Route 29. And we're talking high school football. The Appomattox Raiders lead at halftime, 45-0. The Altavista Marching Colonels doing their thing right now on the field, entertaining the fans. And we'll step aside again for another quick timeout and bring it back with a little bit more discussion, and it'll be time for the second half between Appomattox and Altavista. Before you know it, it's 55 years of continuous high school sports coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
You can buy paint from any old yahoo who knows nothing about paint in one of those big box stores. For quality paint from people who really know paint, it's Davis Paints from your complete home center, English's. Davis Paints, which has been known for quality since 1921, is not just sold anywhere. Visit the new paint room at English's, your authorized Davis Paint dealer.
English's is your complete home center.
On North Main Street, Altavista.
Napa know-how.
Getting the best usually costs a pretty penny. But when it comes to getting one of the best motor oils, your pennies don't have to be pretty at all. Because Valvoline Full Synthetic Motor Oil is only $5.59 a quart. So treat yourself to Valvoline Full Synthetic, now just $5.59. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer expires 9/30/17.
Napa Auto Parts, Main Street, Altavista, across from Feller Chevrolet.
Thinking of starting a business or expanding your company? Think about choosing Altavista as your location to invest and grow. Altavista offers low utility cost, broadband internet, US 29 access, and an attractive quality of life. You'll score big just like the Colonels when you invest in Altavista. Huddle up with the Altavista Office of Economic Development at Altavista Town Hall.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Thanks for joining us here on this first Friday in November. I'm Kyle Hoehne. My partner is Dennis Jarvis. Katie is our sound engineer. Two teams on the field tonight are the Appomattox Raiders and the Altavista Colonels. Appomattox dominating the proceedings so far, 45-0. Halftime program wrapping up here with the Altavista Marching Colonel Band. The fans seem to like it. Dennis, what else do we need to discuss about football, about the Tuscan, and just about anything in general as we have a few moments here to talk?
Real quick, let's talk about the seniors introduced tonight. The golf team that did really well. We've got cross-country team members. I don't know them all. Ashton Reynolds is one that's near and dear to my heart. But we've got 5 or 6 members going to state playoffs next week. You know, you mentioned tomorrow at high noon, the Colonels volleyball team and our award-winning coach will be playing. And, you know, I wonder, a pre-game, post-game, I wonder if any of these guys and gals we've been talking about all season long, I wonder how often they could do pre-game ritual or post-game ritual to Tuscan Italian Grill.
Well, I think if you're smart, you'd be doing it all the time. But, it's smart, and then you got some other things, too. You got to have the time, et cetera, et cetera. So I shouldn't necessarily just say it's all about intelligence. But if you know good food, you like the Tuscan Italian Grill for sure. And glad we're having a chance to get over there. Of course, if the Colonels have to make a long road trip or something in the playoffs, we may have to adjust that schedule. But speaking of those playoffs, Dennis, again, it looks like Altavista is going to be at home. It is confirmed. It'll be a home game next week. First round of the Division I, Class A, Single A, whatever you want to call it, playoffs for the Altavista Colonels. They're probably hosting Stonewall Jackson. It would be a Friday game. It would be a 7 o'clock kickoff as usual. And, again, that's the second season there. I mean, what you do in the regular season really doesn't matter. And, gosh, the Colonels have done enough with the 2 victories and then playing a tough schedule that they get the chance to host a first-round playoff game.
Well, you know, weighted averages. When you're playing AAA, AA teams like Gretna, Stanton River, Appomattox, Dan River, you know, this means something. And, you know, we were talking about, is this like a couple other games we've called this year? You know, when we were at Gretna, nothing worked. The first time we played Gretna, coaches were upset, the players were upset, the fans who went down 29 were upset. But, you know, when we played Stanton River, we were down 50-something to 6 at halftime, but we were playing crisp, playing through, playing efficient, playing Altavista football. That was the longest sustained drive, statistically, and on the clock that we just had to end that second quarter. You get some momentum. Unfortunately, one of our offensive linemen may or may not be back there, coming back for the second half, number 64, DeAndre Jones. I hope for his family and his friends he's okay. I was impressed with the efficiency we moved that ball starting the last half of the second quarter. But, you know, efficient is number 99 and number 42 out here kicking what seems to be 35, 40-yard field goals, and Appomattox Raider teams back out on the field. It's going to be a running clock second half, Kyle. What's that mean for us? What's that mean for Appomattox?
Well, I think for the Colonels, they're going to just try and continue to work on that execution. You mentioned they had some good moments on offense. Now, they also have 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles, an interception, a block punt in there as well. But they had some moments. They were able to move the ball. I think that's probably goal number 1 is get one of these seniors or more in the end zone here on senior night, whether it's Adams, Pinnell, Montague, really doesn't matter. Jonte Gord, a ball carrier that could get in the end zone that's a senior. For the Appomattox Raiders, I think probably their goals are roughly the same. They want to stay crisp and clean, don't have stupid penalties, and maybe they want to get some of their other guys some touches. It is tough for Altavista because of their limited roster size, Dennis. I mean, you can't just throw in the second string because you just don't really have the amount of bodies to do that. So some of the starters are going to be in there. Maybe you put a starter at a different position, that kind of thing. But I think we'll see a lot of the same faces for Altavista. They'll have to gut it out. Maybe in the fourth quarter, get to see some different names out there.
You know that's been our Achilles heel all season long, not having the numbers. not being able to put a second, third man at a wide receiver, at a offensive line, at a skills position. Shaheem Parnell's our punter. He's also in the backfield. He's also on the defensive side. Christian Gilbert. I can go down the list, down our roster. But, I have been impressed with the last 4 weeks, last month of the season. That 10 days off gave us Colonel healthy time, got us our guys back in. We've got Aaron, we got back in. We've got Jonte Gord, Jonathan Montague, rather. I mean, the names we haven't called since the second and third week of the season, touching the ball, contributing, tackling, being efficient. And, I feel bad that you're in this situation, 45-0. And then the referees just indicated to our management team in the press box with us that there was going to be a running clock that second half. So the game will move a little more efficient. And, this Appomattox team, Kyle, 15 juniors, 11 sophomores, 3 freshmen on this huge traveling team over here to our left. I don't expect they're going to let off the throttle too much. What would you think?
I don't think so. I think, again, you may see some different faces, but I think Coach Doug Smith has the same expectations for his second and third unit as he does for his starters. He wants them to play hard, play good, solid, smart football. The Tuscan Italian Grill halftime show is coming to a conclusion here, but let me remind you one more time. The Tuscan is open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week, and something that we'll talk about more here is gift cards. They're available for the holidays. What a great gift that would be for somebody. Get them a Tuscan Italian Grill gift card. Their crew will cater your holiday party, or they can host you in their banquet room there at the Tuscan. Give them a call or visit them online, eattuscan.com, eattuscan.com. Our website's kdcountry.com. I know a lot of you know that. You listen to the ball games there. We thank you so much for it. Third quarter about to get started here from Altavista High School. It's a 45-0 Appomattox lead. Before the third quarter does get started, let me remind you that it's brought to you by English's, your complete home center, North Main Street in Altavista. Talk about the Carhartt clothing a whole lot. How about they're your home for Ariat boots, Western and work boots, men's and women's, high cut, low cut, innovation, and dedication at prices you can afford. English's has all those brands that you know and love, Dennis.
I was in there last Saturday. Bought some stuff to work on some things at my apartment where I'm relocating. And I asked a couple of questions and even walked me through how to do a couple of things. So, a good team in English's Hardware, an efficient, knowledgeable, learned team with product knowledge. The team at English's, it reminds me of the team that we have here at Altavista, be it cross country, be it football, be it robotics team, be it the band. Pride, efficiency, and love of respect of what they do. And I think that's the staff down there at English's Hardware as well.
Colonels are in a huddle here on this near sideline. Well said about English's, by the way. I agree with you 100%. We're proud to have their support. Proud of all of our sponsors, and we thank them so much. You can thank them by going in there and telling them that you appreciate them sponsoring the games, but you're probably better off just to spend some money with them. They would really appreciate that. And again, holidays are coming up. Keep all the people that make this broadcast possible in mind. Raiders trot out here to kick it away. They'll place the ball on the far right hash mark. They're kicking right to left. The Colonels have the usual suspects of Jacob Adams and Shaheem Pannell back deep to return. Jonathan Montague is an intermediate guy there at the 15-yard line.
Got another kickoff specialist for Appomattox. Start second half.
Line drive boot. Pannell's going to take it out of the air. Caught it around his face mask. He'll go up the middle, outside for a moment. Now he's bouncing off guys back to the right hash mark and dropped around the 27-yard line. Had the full head of steam and was charging against the wave of oncoming Appomattox coverage men.
That kickoff was Brody Williams, number 22, a junior. He's listed, too, as a long snapper. So we're going to talk a little bit about long snappers and maybe a potential connection for Appomattox to the western highlands of North Carolina for a team I love as much as I love Altavista.
You got to get to that. How have you kept that in your pocket this long?
Well,
we'll see what happens on this Colonel drive. Not much doing there on first down for Shaheem Pannell. Big man met him in the backfield. Was that Malik Hubbard, maybe, number 77?
I think you're right. It was either number 77, Malik Howard, or number 72, Cameron Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be calling that was number 77, Malik Howard. When you said big guy, boy, he's taken up about 2 or 3 positions on that defensive line. These young Appomattox Raiders are just as smelt as the senior Appomattox Raiders.
He's listed at 282 pounds. That's a tough blocking assignment for any high school guy. Shotgun formation on 2nd and 11. They give it to Pinnell again. Started up the middle, then took it outside for a moment. Dropped in between the right hash mark and numbers around the 29-yard line. It's a small pickup. Remember, it'll be a moving clock here in the second half because of the big Appomattox lead. 45-0. Colonels have a 3rd and 9 situation coming up as they work left to right from Dennis and I's perspective. We're up here at the press box at Altavista, and we may have a new press box by this time next year. Not exactly sure what the construction plans are, though, but we understand it's in the works.
I bet you they'll get the materials from our favorite quarter sponsor, and English is your home repair center, English's Hardware. I bet some of that will come here and be housing you next fall.
I hope so. Running play here on 3rd down. Gilbert's going to keep it himself. He had Montague out there leading the way for him, got tripped up and thrown on his back to the ground at the 40-yard line. It's a 1st down.
Yes.
I like the play to get some space out there on the left side. To use powerful Jonathan Montague as a lead blocker to pave the way for you there, and they pick up 10 yards.
You know, Kyle, this is a learning situation, just like we talked about the Appomattox field goal at the end of the 2nd quarter. We've got live action, live play. You're going to be getting that, putting those helmets and those pads on all week to prepare for a game next Friday. We just picked up a huge 1st down. Keep the momentum on this side. And let's the Altavista Colonels know that they can block and tackle anybody's team in Central Virginia.
Colonels will hand it off. This is Jonathan Montague on a wide receiver sweep. Tries to get up the far sideline. Tossed out of bounds around the 46 or 47-yard line. That's positive gain there on 1st down for Montague. Senior running back / do-it-all guy for the Colonels. 9:10 left to play in the Englishes. Your complete home center, 3rd quarter. It's a 45-0 Appomattox lead.
Looks like Altavista's going light, quick on the slots. We're getting number 22 in here in the game, and Dylan Short. We haven't called his name a lot this season. Let's see if we can get him out on the seam and pick up some yardage for this young man tonight.
Pinnell is in the backfield with the quarterback, Christian Gilbert. Gilbert has the offense set and ready to go on 2nd and 3rd. Running play, the whistles blow, it stops play. Pinnell blew past the defensive line and into the defensive secondary, but the whistle had blown. It was a false start on the Altavista Colonels offense. That'll negate what was probably going to be a pretty decent gain, and it'll back them up 5 yards, make it 2nd and 9 now. 8:25 left to play in the 3rd quarter. The Appomattox lead still standing at 45-0.
You're midway through the 3rd quarter, and that's the first penalty on Altavista so far. No dirty laundry with a Don Henley reference for our team tonight. That's a first, and I like that moving forward when you go in the playoffs. No dirty laundry on our side.
Yeah, we need some more musical references like we usually do. They fake it to Jacob Adams. They hand off instead to Shaheem Pinnell. The hole is closed, and he's going nowhere. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. 7:54 now in the 3rd quarter. 45-0, the Appomattox lead. 3rd down coming up for the Altavista offense. They'll shuffle some new personnel in. Maybe a passing situation here. And maybe with the playoffs coming up next week, Dennis, you work on some new plays that are in the playbook that you haven't used as much this season, or maybe sprinkle some new things in there you want to work on.
Don't disagree. We're getting some big playing time for freshmen like Mr. Reynolds out there in the offensive line. So this is huge for us to keep this momentum moving forward.
They put Jacob Adams in motion left to right. They hand off to Shaheem Pinnell. Meets stiff resistance up the middle. Was able to pick up 6 or 7 feet on the carry. Not enough for a 1st down, but it does move the stick over there on the far sideline a little bit. Brings up 4th and 6 for the Altavista Colonels. Looks like they could be going for it here, Dennis. I see a lot of signals coming in. Not saying they won't punt, but it has the appearances maybe like they want to go for it here on 4th and 6.
Well, Appomattox isn't sleeping. They have one player back deep just in case as a return man, and they're going to be ready for whatever happens.
They are going to go for it. Christian Gilbert, straight drop back. Oh, he's hit at the 35-yard line and dropped. Had some time initially. No receivers were open. Gilbert held on to the football and then got sacked in the backfield.
Is that number 80?
I think it might have been number 68, Justice Wright.
I think you're right.
On the sack in the backfield. Justice was served. Sorry, couldn't resist the opportunity to go with that one. 1st and 10 for the Raiders offense, 35-yard line. That's a turnover on downs for the Altavista offense. Their opening possession of the second half.
You know, Kyle, when you've got a team like Altavista, a strong power, single A, traditional strong power, when you've got a team like Appomattox coming here that's fast and quick like that, last week that would have been pickup for a first down, maybe even a touchdown against an equal opponent like Chatham or Gretna or whomever. This Appomattox team is fast and quick, and just can't deny them that.
It is a new quarterback in there calling the signals for the Appomattox Raiders. That's number 7, Jake Scott. He turns and hands off to a running back going off left tackle. Colonel's defense was firm at the point of attack. They stopped him for a 1-yard gain.
185 pounds as a junior. He's a tall young man.
Well put together. Running play again. Handoff going to the right. Is that number 21, Robert Callahan, carrying the football? We've called his name on defense.
It was Robert Callahan.
Looks like he's getting some touches now on offense. That's a 4-yard pickup. Sets up 3rd and 5 for Appomattox.
You know, these are the times you talked about. This is time when Appomattox is going into their playbook, and they're saying, guys, no mistakes. Don't fumble the ball. Don't throw an interception. We don't want any dirty laundry on our side of the field. Let's just play efficient football and see what happens.
Under center formation, split backs behind the new quarterback, Jake Scott. Option play to the right. They give it to Callahan again, and he got stuck hard in the hip by Jonathan Montague. Montague headed straight for the same hole that Callahan was going for, stuck him hard. It was a 3-yard pickup. Sets up 4th and 1 here for the Appomattox offense. They're probably going for it unless Coach Doug Smith wants to try another field goal. This one would be a little bit longer than the one Nick Ferris made earlier. Looks like they're going to go for it on 4th and 1. Always a good time to change the snap count here on these short yardage situations. Scott gets under center, hands it off. The option play, it looked like there was some confusion there as far as who was going to keep it or take it. Raiders pick up the first down, though, as Scott ended up handing it off.
You know, let's talk about that nice hit Jonathan Montague had. You know, this is what you want to look forward to when you're watching game film. You know, you're down 45 to nothing, but were you following through? Were you tackling the way we've taught you? Were you playing the way we've taught you to play all year? And we're seeing that Christmas out of Altavista, and it gets me excited for what happens next weekend.
1st and 10, far right hash mark, 20-yard line. Option play again. Scott kept it that time. Got tripped up by a diving Jonathan Montague. Brought him down there at the 18-yard line. Short gain on first down. 3:40 left to play in the Englishes. Your complete home center third quarter. It's a 45-0 Appomattox Raider lead. They have not scored in this half. This is their first possession of the second half.
You know, just like I called earlier, Jonathan Montague playing textbook football, tackled, wrapped up, followed through. These are the things you want to see moving forward, play after play.
Running play. Scott faked it to Callahan, kept it himself. He got brought down at the 19-yard line by a trio of Altavista defenders. It looked like Tyler Reynolds was leading the way in the backfield. Think he had Dakota Ashby there with him helping out.
He did. Dynamic duo, and like you said, you're calling a freshman's name. You just called a freshman, Tyler Reynolds, number 60. When we opened the season, he went from being on the practice team tonight to being on the starting team on special teams, offense and defense. So it's a good time.
It is a good time and a good play there for Reynolds to stop the quarterback keeper for no gain. 3rd and 7 for the Appomattox offense. Middle of the field, working right to left. Option play again. They give it to the first man through. He's strung out and thrown across the 15-yard line down to the 12. It's enough for a Raider first down. It moves the chains. Look like maybe the same two guys, Reynolds and Ashby there, helping out and combining on the stop. Christian Gilbert stepped up to get in on the hit, too.
And we got Jaden Martin just coming in replacing Biggie Wallow Reynolds, number 60. And, Jaden is a senior, and he's about 226 pounds.
2:05 left to play in the third quarter. Split backs behind quarterback Scott for the Appomattox Raiders. He gets in the low crouch under center. Option play, gave it to Callahan. Callahan slipped through in between left guard and tackle and then got banged around a little bit inside the 5-yard line. Move the ball back to the 7-yard line after the spot. It's a gain, and the Raiders are knocking on the door again, looking for more points here in the third quarter. They already lead 45-0.
You know, a couple of years ago, I was at an economic development meeting, and there was economic development director Jeff Taylor, WSET reporter, talked about his Raiders, what they were doing. We had some site selectors. They said, the Los Angeles Raiders are coming to Lynchburg to play. So it's kind of interesting if you think about it.
Jake Scott turns the corner on the quarterback keeper. He stopped just shy of pay dirt. They'll put this ball on the 1-yard line. It's enough for a first down pickup. Call it first and goal from the 1-yard line. Raiders trying to get another score on the board here. The Altavista defense doing their best to try and keep them out. Looks like a new running back in there. Might be Christian Ferguson to the left side of quarterback Jake Scott. See what the play call is here on first and goal from the 1-yard line. Scott in the crouch again. Keeps it himself. Tries to slide into the end zone. He did get in. Referees say he broke the plane.
Wow.
Ref on the far sideline called it almost immediately. It's a touchdown for the Raiders and their other quarterback, the junior, Jake Scott.
You know, I was, from our vantage point, that was kind of interesting. I know it's hard for us to make this call if that ball crossed the plane or not. It's odd that the official on the other side of the field called that, but I thought it was a good, solid stop by our defensive line for Altavista. And here's yet another kicker coming in to do a point after. This is number 43.
Bronson Williams on to try the extra point. He knocks it through, too. Good, strong leg from Williams. 52-0, the Appomattox Raiders extending the lead in the third quarter. 40.5 seconds left to play in that third quarter on 105.5 KD Country.
PCM Industrial of Altavista offers mobile welding and repair services, fully equipped service trucks, certified craftsmen, and quick response to satisfy your needs. Contact PCM Industrial at powerconstruction.com. PCM Industrial is a fully insured Class A licensed contractor, OSHA and MSHA compliant. PCM Industrial Services of Altavista wishes Coach Sharness and the Altavista Colonels football team good luck in another winning season. Go Colonels.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Well, the Appomattox Raiders get some new faces in the ball game, and they take it down and score on the Altavista Colonels. Jake Scott, the quarterback keeper, from 1 yard away, and then they even get a new face in there to boot the extra point through. Dennis, this is good coaching by Doug Smith. These guys might get called on down the stretch to make some big plays in the playoffs. If you have injuries, you just never know what might happen, that kind of stuff.
When you got championship caliber teams have championship level players, the next man up. It doesn't matter who it is. You're going to play the same way. And look here, we've got Shaheen bouncing off an Appomattox Raider, picking up another 5 or 6, and he's saying, "Hey, look at me. I'm here to play." Jacob Adams said that too. And Shaheen's a little slow getting up off the ball, but he's here. And we're going to start this third quarter about the 40-yard line. Good field position for the Colonels, despite this insurmountable goal of being down 52-0 on senior night.
Clock moving, 30 seconds. This will probably be the last play in the third quarter. It's a 52-0 Appomattox lead. Looks like maybe the Colonels might even not snap it here. Well, they're going to get one more play off in the third quarter. Gilbert still back there at the quarterback spot. He's got Pinnell set up off his left hip. 2 wideouts to each side, 2 wingbacks to each side, 1 to each side, pardon me. Running play, up the middle. Pinnell, not a big hole, but he just sort of lowers his shoulder and charges ahead for 4 or 5 yards. That will bring a close to the third quarter. The teams will flip sides. We've got one final frame to play here on the final regular season game. It's a 52-0 Appomattox lead. Quick timeout. Altavista's back with the football on 105.5 KD Country.
Your home is your biggest investment. It must be handled properly. Let the professionals at DL Bryant Heating and Cooling handle your home issues. Donnie and his trained professional staff are ready at 434-841-1580. They can make sure your home or business HVAC system is ready. Ready for the rest of the summer and ready for the upcoming fall and winter. Call DL Bryant Heating and Cooling at 434-841-1580. That's 841-1580. DL Bryant is ready to protect your investment.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Fourth quarter about to get started here from Altavista High School. Make your plans to join us at English Stadium next week. It'll be the first round of the playoffs, and I know it's confusing. The Colonels are going to finish the season at 2-8, but they've got a rating good enough to host a playoff game next week. Stonewall Jackson will be coming to town. We'll have the broadcast, of course, on 105.5. If you can't make it to the game in person.
You know, it's exciting. My first football game 3 years ago was a quarterfinal game against Lunenburg, and it was very cold. I had to put my Carhartt coveralls on, but the weather looks like it's being the 50s or 60s. 10-day forecast from George Flickinger up at WSET, and it's a good sweep run here. Look at this, Kyle.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever going to get cold. Wide receiver sweep for the Altavista Colonels offense. It got handed off to
Dylan Short, number 22.
Dylan Short. There you go on the carry. Made his way across the 40-yard line for a pretty good pickup there. Jonathan Montague in the ball game now for the Colonels. Some substitutes in there. It's 1st and 10 from the 43-yard line. They're in their own field territory here for the moment, are the Altavista Colonels.
Kyle, this is the type of things we were talking about earlier. You want to tall some different numbers, some different players. You want to see that momentum carry. And that was a big positive run for the Colonels against this smelt Appomattox defense.
They fake it to Jaqueline Jones. They give it instead to Jonathan Montague. Angles his way across left tackle and then goes to the ground with some help from a few Raider defenders. A.J. Moore, one of them there, that sort of shoved him down to the turf, along with number 18, Jackson Cheatham.
You know, the guys behind us, if you heard a little commotion, they were talking about what a big run that Jonathan Montague had, that small diesel pickup truck. And these are the type of plays, I tell you, when you get in the playoffs, players play, champions figure out how to go one more week. And when you got players like Jonathan Montague hitting the hole, I'd be afraid whomever's going to hit him.
Put Jaqueline Jones in motion. They hand it to him again on the wide receiver sweep, left to right. He's across the 45, now the 50, all the way to the other 45, and then bottled up there in between the right side hash marks and numbers. The football came out late. No, just some substitutes coming in. I saw a bunch of Appomattox personnel running off the sideline. It's a first down for the Altavista Colonels. Ball might have popped out, but it was after Jones was already on the turf.
You know, somebody out there listening going, why is he excited when the score's 52-0? Tell you why I'm excited. Because this Altavista team never quits. This Altavista team's always on the ball, always playing hard. It doesn't matter what's on the scoreboard. They've got heart. And I get excited when I see young men that are stepping up under adversity, do what they're supposed to, and play solid football.
Colonels set, ready to go from the far right hash mark. They're in Appomattox territory now. Let's see if the Colonels can get some points on this drive. And, you know, with the running clock, Dennis, it might end up being their final drive of the game. They hand it to Shaheem Pinnell. He was following the pulling guard to the left side of the O-line. He got tripped up in the backfield. Number 10, Damon Patterson, got him down low and was able to bring him to the turf.
You know, they're watching game film, Appomattox, because you've got to tackle Shaheem Pinnell low, because if you go high, he's going to push you off. He's going to get that extra 2-3 yards. He's averaging 6.2 or so on a carry. He came in needing 40 for 600 yards for the season thus far. Don't think he's going to pick that up tonight. We may see that happen next week. But Colonels keep playing, charging ahead, and I want to give a touchdown on the senior night.
8 minutes and 45 seconds left to play in the game. They hand off to Jacob Adams, working left to right. Wide receiver sweep. Good blocking out front. Ran through a tackle to 25. Adams cuts back inside. Nice move at the 5-yard line to score. Jacob Adams from 40 yards away gets in the end zone. Some great blocking at the beginning of the play. Good blocks downfield, and then a nice move to cut back inside at the 5-yard line. Jacob Adams scores. First touchdown of the day for the Colonels. The senior gets in on senior night, his 11th TD of the year.
You were right. A good call by you, Kyle. It was wonderful blocking out on the seams and equally wonderful fundamentals moves by Jacob. He danced off one of the secondary members of Appomattox and just got pay dirt.
Joel Ruiz Cupsey in to kick the extra point, and he does sneak it above the crossbar. It's good. Colonels have 7, 52-7. The Appomattox Raider lead now. Quick timeout, and it's Raider football with 8:34 left to play in the ball game on 105.5 KD Country.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes in Virginia are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
Brought to you by English Construction Company, with offices in Lynchburg.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
The Altavista Colonels get some positive vibes here in the fourth quarter. A 40-yard rushing touchdown from senior Jacob Adams on senior night. It was a good team score, great blocking, really all the way around. 8:34 left to play in the fourth quarter, Dennis. If Appomattox goes on one of these slow, methodical, matriculating drives, then the Colonels might not get the ball back. But the Colonels' offense could get one last chance to score. Maybe the defense could get a takeaway and get them the football back.
You never know. We're playing a playoff scenario right now with these seniors and these juniors out here tonight. Who knows? Maybe we get an onside kick back and we get the ball. I mean, that was a really wonderful, methodical series for Altavista. Very impressed. You hit the extra point and you followed through. And here is a short kick.
Short kick that'll get fielded on the 36-yard line. A flying Jacob Adams was in there early to try and dislodge the football, but the return man held on to it there at the 36-yard line.
You know what's interesting, Kyle, is the student section, that Spirit Squad over to the right of us, they've got a Ric Flair kind of woo-woo going on. I think they know that this week ESPN 30 for 30's got the Ric Flair story coming up. And, a student, while I'm saying that's important, we're down 52-7, and the students are in it. The football players are in it. And I hope the people listening out in radio land are understanding that this is still a hard-tackling, hard-charging Altavista team, even though they're down with 8-15 and 52-7 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's fun to see everybody still getting in it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some fans have headed to the exits early, but still some good football getting played, some exciting stuff. Dennis and I are happy to be here. We've got 8 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter. Raiders lead 52-7. Let's see what their offensive unit can do. This group scored a touchdown in the third quarter. Jake Scott at quarterback with the quarterback keeper. Kept it again there for 5 yards. Colonel's defense does now, you start to see a few fresh faces out there for them. As much as possible, again, with only 22 or so active guys on the roster, there's only so much substituting you can do, right, Dennis?
Well, you're right, and there comes one that we haven't called, Zachary Coffer, number 70, a freshman, 5'11", 235 pounds. That's a big ninth grader.
No kidding. 3-point stances for the running backs in the backfield. Scott's going to keep it himself and follow one of them in the hole. Colonel's got him up high around the shoulder pads and then threw him down after a lasso type of tackle at the 48-yard line.
Tyler Gord on the tackle. And I figured you'd do a wrestling kind of motif for us. Set that up.
Get in on that.
Yeah, I was just picking on you.
I'm a pro wrestling fan.
Well, that was a DDT kind of move by Mr. Gord on taking down this huge Appomattox second-string quarterback that probably would start at any other team here in Central Virginia at any class level.
Didn't use it as a featured move or a finishing move, but I know Ric Flair probably applied a DDT or two in the long career. Jake Scott is under center again for the Appomattox Raiders. Colonel's not showing blitz from the 5-3 look, and here's another lassoing, twirling tackle there, and it might have been Tyler Gord again that just roped him up and dropped him down. Now, again, that's more of a rodeo type of move than a wrestling move. It's a half-a-yard pickup there for Jake Scott, and it'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Appomattox offense. 6:05 left to play in the ball game. Raiders lead 52-7.
I've got you a Western reference. You said lasso. I saw Bailey Stinnett coming off on the assist on the tackle. That's number 7. The classic Magnificent 7 or the remake of the Magnificent 7. Either way, a great Western. That's where you get your Western motif in on that tackle.
Good Cowboy needs a sidekick. Here's a new quarterback in there for the Appomattox Raiders. He's bottled up and dropped after a gang tackle. Looked like Zachary Kofer was the first guy on the stop, and the new quarterback, is that an 88 or a 68, Dennis? Gosh, we really need to get our eyes checked.
Well, you know, we were talking about this earlier. There's so many players on the traveling roster for Appomattox. Our roster doesn't have all their numbers. And, you know, I didn't say Mr. Kofer's name right. That's a freshman at 235 pounds who wrestled that big that quarterback down and said, nope, you're not picking up any more yards on me tonight. That's a number.
Running play again for the Appomattox Raiders. It's off left tackle, and the back angles his way back to the inside. Chains move, first down yardage picked up.
You know,
another team stop for the Colonels. Bailey Stinnett was in on it early.
You're correct. That's number 88. That's the quarterback for Appomattox right now. And it's not Lynn Swan. That's the only number 88 that can come to my number. And, you know, he's not listed on the active roster. It looks like a smaller kind of freshman or sophomore. And he's running that third quarterback running this offense as officially as Mr. Skaggs is in the first 2 quarters.
Option play here. It's going up the middle on the handoff. Quick hitting, hard running play there. 12-yard pickup. Colonel's secondary jumped in to make the stop. Bailey Stinnett again. Jaquelin Jones.
You know,
4:10 left to play in the ball game.
Do you know Lynn Swan, or do you call Hines Ward? Because he was kind of that dual threat from Georgia. He was a quarterback. He was a wide receiver. You know, I still don't know this young man's name. I know you're diligently over there trying to find out from our listeners at home, our stat guys. It's Appomattox Raiders. They just keep running this offense efficiently, soundly. Now we got a timeout by Coach Sharnes from Altavista, wanting to get the groups huddled up together and say, "Hey guys, we don't want another touchdown. Let's buckle up here."
3:45 left to play in the ball game. It's a timeout on the field. We'll take the timeout too. Appomattox leading Altavista 52-7 on 105.5 KD Country.
Whatever your truck, car, SUV needs are, Highview Motors GMC has it all, from small to tall. New to pre-owned, offering more than just GMC sales. Highview Motors GMC provides 24-hour towing, full-service body shop, state inspection, transmissions, everything in between. Highview Motors GMC, providing top-quality service since 1961.
Highview Motors GMC.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Stick around for the post-game show. We'll recap everything that happened here. We'll get you some scores from some area games, some very good ball games happening. There was a lot of tight ones at halftime, and we'll see how they are finishing up. Some of them might not be done by the time we are done, but we'll wait and find out. 3 minutes and 35 seconds left to play. The running clock here in the fourth quarter at Altavista High School. It's a 52-7 Appomattox lead. Raiders working hard here in what's probably their last possession of the game. They'd like to get another touchdown in what is sort of the second and third units, maybe a combination of those two out there on the field right now for the Raiders. Colonels have some new faces as well, getting their feet wet and their jerseys dirty.
That's a good analogy. The feet wet and jerseys dirty, and Daniel Triplett is out there doing the same thing, saying, "Hey, let's hold them strong. Let's keep them out of the end zone." And I would like to see that. Let Altavista not give up one in this fourth quarter.
I'm sure that's a point of pride for the Colonels' defense. Running play here. It looked like kind of a busted play as the quarterback didn't have anywhere to go, and he's chopped down by the quick-moving Tyler Gord. That's a stop there in the backfield. Loss of 1 yard. Gord hit him hard, too, as the quarterback was going down to the turf. Sets up third, and we'll call it a long 5. Maybe even 4 yards, actually. More a look at the stick over there. 2:20 left to play in the ball game, Dennis. 52-7.
we don't have any way to ascertain the young man's number, his name over here. It's number 88. I don't know who he is. But that was a busted play for Appomattox. And let's just credit 21, Tyler Gord. Back there, quick, rattled his cage, wanted to cut it to the outside, and he said, you're going to sit right down here on my 35-yard line. You ain't going to get in the end zone.
Good job of containment by the sophomore Tyler Gord. One wide receiver to each side, a tight end right. Here comes a running play, sort of a quarterback sweep. Was going to the right, now he cuts back to the left, and guess what? Tyler Gord's there again to drop him at the 21-yard line. Short of the yard to gain, sets up 4th down now. 1:39 left to play in the ball game. 52-7, the Appomattox lead. Both teams just playing for pride, putting on the line. They're still playing hard out there.
Well, we just brought in another Altavista name. We don't call that out often. A freshman, number 53, Nathaniel Pugh, came in. Going to be on the defensive line for the Cardinals.
Pugh's going to try and get in the backfield. Running play again. Ball carrier's breaking free across the 10, the 5, diving in the end zone. It's a touchdown for the Appomattox Raiders. They score with 1:12 left to play in the ball game. It's over there on the far side of the field. See if we can figure out who scored it for the Raiders. Good blocking. He had really a convoy leading him into the end zone.
He did. It looked like Governor McCullough or President Trump was getting to go to the buffet line before everybody else did at the Tuscan Italian Grill. That kind of cover there. But, efficient on both sides. Altavista efficient on Appomattox. And credit where credit due. You play through, you play solid, you play till the clock ends or the whistle blows. And let's give credit to Appomattox for being in this game, even when it really doesn't matter at this point.
Number 43, Bronson Williams on to kick again. He steps into the extra point. It's nice and high, and it's through the uprights. 59-7, the Appomattox lead. We have 1:12 left to play in the ball game. The Altavista offense is going to get the pigskin back for one final try to get some points on the board here. It's Appomattox 59, Altavista 7 on 105.5 KD Country.
Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving family since 1905.
Service you can trust and prices that work for your family. During the moments in life that matter, you'll be able to feel the difference made by family ownership. Finch and Finch, families serving families since 1905.
Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving families since 1905.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
59-7, the Appomattox Raider lead over the Altavista Colonels. Let's see, Dennis. The Raiders they've been over 60 twice this season. Beat Buckingham 63-14. Beat William Campbell 68-28. Wow, that's hard to believe they could put up 68 on William Campbell's defense. They're averaging 42.6 points per game, so they're a little above the average here tonight in a good performance. One I think that is going to make Doug Smith very happy. Probably feels pretty good about his ball club heading into the playoffs. I don't know how Coach Mike Sharness feels about his team heading into the playoffs. I think the Colonels played really hard tonight, though.
I do. I think you second half especially should be happy. You got a touchdown. You had some substitutions late, and you generally wouldn't see us give up that other touchdown. But look at this.
Line drive kick. Jaqueline Jones had a burst of speed. Now he's bottled up at the 49-yard line. Football squirted out. The officials will say he's down.
He was down.
I'll tell you what, man. You talked about the atmosphere amongst the fans. I mean, both sides are still getting into the ball game. They're rooting the guys on. Look at the Appomattox bench over there. They're going crazy. They love the big hit at the end of the play.
Well,
the Altavista bench was happy with the nice long return from Jaqueline Jones.
Well, Jaqueline had a great run. And how often on special teams do you get to see a kicker or a punter light them up that you'll see on ESPN on NFL Game Day on Sunday? I've seen a Bentley Critcher at Appalachian State or another punter from West Virginia University get out there and have those kind of hits before. doesn't happen too often.
Late stages of the game. Talk about the App State Appomattox connection there.
Oh, we've got a third-string long snapper named Drake Cox who goes to the Highlands in Appalachian, and I'm hoping one of these kickers might want to find his way to go up there in Western Carolina and bring on the Mountaineers.
Yeah, let Mr. Cox snap to him, right?
Yes.
It's Jaquelin Jones in again on the carry. He had a man on his jersey. He got thrown around and dropped at the 40-yard line. 10-yard pickup for Jaquelin Jones, who's got good speed, and he's using it here in the late stages of the game. We're under 25 seconds to play now. Colonels actually need to hustle up to make sure they get one final play off. Looks like they're not going to, Dennis. I think they're just going to walk to midfield and shake hands.
I want to give credit for something. That was a fumble on the play. Number 2, Derek Stevens, came up out of that scrum huddle for Altavista. That's I think a freshman. We never get to call. He picked the ball up and didn't give us another turnover. So I want to give credit to that young man for being right on the spot and playing through the whole game. So I'm pretty impressed with that.
Football game has come to a conclusion. It's Appomattox 59, Altavista 7. Post-game show on the way when you return to 105.5 KD Country.
This is 100% convenient mobile banking with local First National Bank.
With our FirstNet mobile app, you can securely check balances, make deposits, pay bills, transfer money, and much more.
It's easy to use, and we even have a video demo on our website at firstnetbk.com.
And it's free, so search FirstNet mobile app and download it for free today.
Remember, banking from anywhere, anytime will help you bring home more bacon.
First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
It's cold in here. Will your heating system keep you warm this winter, or will you spend a cold evening shivering under the covers? Have your heating system inspected today by Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling. Kit Tyree has over 20 years experience and specializes in heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Licensed and bonded. Call for an appointment today. 309-2266. 309-2266. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling.
Fun times are waiting for you at El Cazador, Altavista's oldest Mexican restaurant. Relax in comfort with daily food and drink specials, Mexican and American foods, and a children's menu too. Call for takeout or go online to elcazadorva.com. El Cazador is a proud supporter of community activities like high school sports and the Y. El Cazador is open 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by before or after the game.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
Post-game show has arrived here at Altavista High School. It was a 59-7 Appomattox Raider win. It was a dominating performance for Appomattox. Scoring early came from Javon Scruggs, their talented Division I signee quarterback. 3 rushing touchdowns in the first quarter. He threw a touchdown to Devin Dews from 28 yards out. Raiders blocked a punt. They were up big at that point. Omar Bailey had a rushing touchdown. Nick Ferris booted a 32-yard field goal in to end the first half. It was a 45-0 halftime lead. Dennis, second half rolled around. Raiders scored a few more times, and the Altavista Colonels got a 40-yard rushing touchdown from Jake Adams, his 11th TD of the year. How about the night, though, for Javon Scruggs? It all came in the first half. He's got 11 rushing touchdowns on the season now, 22 passing touchdowns. Another all-star performance for him, and I think the Appomattox Raiders feeling pretty good about their chances headed into the playoffs next week. And we should mention again, the Colonels are in the playoffs too. They're at home next week hosting Stonewall Jackson. We'll be on pregame show for that. We'll start at 6:30.
Well, you know, who knew at the beginning of the season we would say that we eventually faced what is the potential AAA champion in Stanton River. I would say without a doubt that they'll be hanging hardware and another banner over in Appomattox, and Raider Nation's going to be proud. Probably the best team, fundamentally sound team we have seen all year. I would stack them up against any of the teams that we've played, we've watched. And if you're watching WSET or Channel 7 on Friday night for the post games that they have, they're pretty smelt. This is not a class. This is a team that plays well above their weight class. And Altavista, we've played well above our weight class all season. You know, we've had Dan River and Gretna twice, and this team and Stanton River. And, you know, when we played the Equilibrium, we played Prince Edward, when we played Lunenburg, when we played Chatham, when we've played those guys that are on the same athletic level and the same kind of numbers, the games have been different. And that's what I'm looking at when you go into playoffs. Don't look at us as a 2-win team. Look at us as a team who is battle-tested, battle-hardened, and didn't give up in that third and fourth quarter and played the way we were supposed to. But, man, when you're down 45, 42 to nothing at halftime, it's hard to get back up off the mat, and no matter what weight class you're at. So
yeah, I doubt you're going to find a team at the 1A level that has got the resume that the Colonels have, that has the tough schedule that Altavista has, and now, you said, above the weight class pretty much all year with the exception of William Campbell. Now they're back in the weight class. They're playing 1A teams again. It starts next week with Stonewall Jackson. Now, that being said, none of them are going to be easy, and each successive step is going to get harder and harder each round in the playoffs. Dennis and I are back with more in just a moment. One final timeout here, and then we'll wrap it up. 59-7, the Appomattox Raiders win here tonight. Hope you enjoyed the live broadcast on 105.5 KD Country.
The game is brought to you by these members of the KD Country Sports Club.
Radio Shack and Crystal Bay Pools, serving your area since 1989 for swimming pool installations, chemicals, liners, and more.
El Cerrito. Throw on a sombrero. Shake your maracas. It's El Cerrito time. Authentic Mexican cuisine only El Cerrito can serve up.
One Stop Mart, Main Street, Altavista, where the gas is cheap, beverages are cold, and the chicken is kicking.
McDonald's of Altavista, proud supporter of the Altavista Colonels. Stop by or drive through before or after the game.
The Dairy Freeze with hot dogs, burgers, fries, and of course ice cream. They're doing it right at the Freeze on Main Street, Altavista.
Old Dominion Insurance. See Kim and Gil, your Erie insurance agents on Main Street, Gretna, next to Tyler Flower Shop.
Thanks for sponsoring tonight's broadcast on 105.5 KD Country.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
We're back here from the press box at Altavista High School, putting the finishing touches on the broadcast tonight. 59-7, the Appomattox win here over the Altavista Colonels. Big props to our sound engineer, Katie. She always does a wonderful job tonight. No exception. And again, make your plans to join us on the air or in person next week from Altavista High School. They'll host Stonewall Jackson High School in the opening round of the VHSL 1A playoffs. It's Region B action. Of course, those William Campbell Generals are in Region B. They'll be in the playoffs as well. Believe they have a bye in the first round. And it'll be a fun time. Playoffs are always fun. The pressure gets amped up a little bit. You get some great moments. It should be exciting. Let's put the finishing touches on this one tonight here, Dennis. Player of the game time. Before I get to that, let me give you some scores. I know you're wondering. JF is beating Heritage at the moment, 35-27. LCA over Brookville, 35-28. Dan River and Gretna are tied at 14 last check. They're in the fourth quarter. They're tied at 14. GW beat Halifax 58-14. Stanton River's up big, 53-13. There's a few scores out there that I didn't mention, of course, but some action still going on. Sounds like there's some good football games tonight. There usually is, and always nice to keep tabs on some other teams in the area.
Well, it is. I just don't disagree with you. And surprise, Stanton River had 53.
Right.
But you know what is not surprising? Gretna. And
Dan River tied,
yes, at 14-14.
Yeah.
Those are some really sound, fundamental teams that are playing each other. And there's two playoff teams going at it head-to-head before last week of the season. So.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun ball game down there. Wish both of them, of course, best of luck in the playoffs. They're in the same region as well, and they have a chance at meeting down the road, too. Player of the game time for the Appomattox Raiders. I hate to say it's easy, but when you run for 3 touchdowns, you throw another touchdown, you lay these big hits on special teams and defense, I have a hard time not giving it to number 1, Javon Scruggs. That's my pick for Appomattox as player of the game.
10 up, 10 down. How can I ever? I get to go second to you, which is always wonderful, and I don't mean that rudely when I say it. You're correct. He did it, and not only. Let's talk about you. We talked about what we're going to see on special teams or defense with Mr. Scruggs. Boy, he lit it up on a couple of tackles on defense, and especially on that one nice long run we had start that third quarter. He was over there on a kickoff return and laid Jacob Adams out. It was number 1 from Appomattox. It's number 1 from Altavista. He's impressive. There's a reason why Liberty went east on 460 to pick up the young man and said, stay with us and come from the scarlet, from the blue and gray to the red, white, and blue. And he's going to be a flame up on Liberty Mountain. You will call his name in the future, and he will be a special young man. They'll be featured on big college football games in the seasons to come.
I think so. It's pretty cool that the Liberty Flames have had quite a bit of local talent. Another Appomattox Raider who was very good up there was Mr. Kenny Scott from a few years ago, if you remember that name. And, of course, the head coach now of the William Campbell Generals, Danny Brogan, he played at Liberty, so it's a nice connection. On the other side, player of the game time for the Altavista Colonels. Dennis and I were sort of discussing this, and maybe it's a cop-out, maybe it isn't, but we can do whatever we want. It's senior night. I think I'm going to go with this senior class here. We've got to honor them before the game. They've got numbers painted down there towards the left side end zone. 8 seniors on this ball club. We'll get to call their names next week, of course, but it's nice to honor them here last regular season home game. I'm going to pick those seniors. Of course, Jacob Adams, one of those guys, got in the end zone for the 11th time on the season tonight.
You know, I can't disagree with you. You got Jacob Adams, you got Shaheem Parnell, Jonathan Montague. I'm just going through the numbers right here. Mr. Triplett. It was sad to see them introduced because they know it's their last regular season home game. But what a wonderful way for us to honor them as players of the game, as an efficient, almost a full unit with 8 guys. They're going to be back next week, and I pray and I hope that the team's safe this week, that they're injury-free, and that we'll see as wonderful a crowd come out for the Altavista faithful as we saw tonight. And I want to give credit to the Appomattox Raiders. They're still out on our field right now. I think every person who came from the game is out and was praying and listening to this post-game talk. The most impressive team I've seen, the most impressive fan base I've seen supporting their team this year, too. What a wonderful way for us to finish up a season at home with a good group of young men over there from Appomattox. But honoring 8 seniors, I agree with you. It was a good call.
Yep, pretty neat stuff there that the Raiders fans got in on the team huddle there, and they're still hanging out. Like Dennis said, we're glad that you're hanging out here. We know we've got some great fans. We really appreciate it. Tune in next week. Stonewall Jackson in town for round 1 of the playoffs. That's going to wrap it up for us tonight. I'm Kyle Hoehne. He's Dennis Jarvis. Katie's our sound engineer. Mike Sharness joined us in the pregame show. We really appreciate that. We'll send you back to some real country music. It was Appomattox 59, Altavista 7. You heard all the action live on 105.5 KD Country.